Hi, hello. What's up? Well, this is the right one.
That's the voice. The deep voice.
That's the one.
This is what I'm talking about. All right. Welcome to first thing. Welcome to Friday, because this is when it starts. Friday does not start until you are here at the Nintopics Podcast, because there's no better way to end your week and start off your weekend than here at the Nintopics Podcast with the best crew ever. And so with that, let me go ahead and quickly introduce our all-star cast, starting with Lilly from Hyrule. How are you doing, Lilly?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Hope everybody's had a wonderful week. It's the weekend already, so let's get this started. Very excited. And I guess we're gonna start with what we have been playing and what am I more excited to play. I've been playing a lot of Luigi's Mansion HD, and tomorrow I'll be playing Tears of the Kingdom again here on the on my channel. I remember I deleted that, so I'm gonna be doing that tomorrow, and looking forward to play. I am waiting for the I keep forgetting the name. Is the Nintendo Championship one?
Oh yeah, the NES Championship Edition.
That one. So that one is going to be released next
week,
Thursday.
Thursday.
Next week. So I'm excited for that one. I want to try a lot of the Zelda and Zelda 2 challenges. And a bunch of other ones. But really looking forward to that.
We are definitely going to play that game here on the podcast, because we have a champ here that we have to dethrone. Okay.
Yeah, of course, that's true. It's Nintendo World Championships. I keep forgetting the name.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah, well, talking about Nintendo World Champ, let's go over to the actual champ from Nintendo World. It is Zach Hendricks, the champ Hendricks. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Quick disclaimer. I won the Nintendo National Championships, but it was bigger than any of the World Championships.
That makes sense.
But no, I am doing good.
Still gonna be throwing you, dude.
What was that? You gonna be throwing me?
Yeah,
you're still 1,000 times better than we are. So
we'll see. The Nintendo World Championships, which seems pretty Zelda heavy. So I know I got some Zelda fanatics and some maybe one day true Zelda fans in this chat.
I'm not a real one, remember?
Yep, I remember.
But now we can hear your juicy. Hi.
I have been playing a good amount of Fall Guys, because I have been busy on the go, and I'm able to just bring my Switch with me to set, and it's so nice to just be like, oh, it's lunchtime. Boom. But yeah, I am doing good. Glad to be here. And we should go to Paul next, so I can try.
Yeah, Paul is right in the middle with creepy mask over there, wearing Mr.
Very suitable.
Who is Emio or Emio? I still don't know how to pronounce it. I'll just call it Emio.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
It sounds creepier. So what's going on, Paul?
In character.
All right, guys,
so it's not sassy. Paul. That's what I was wondering.
Off camera, Paul is more out there. So you have to get rid of, more out there. Or
Are you sure no one interfered with his connection or something? Someone hacked his account or something?
No, it's
is that Paul?
There's two Pauls. There's off-camera Paul and there's on-camera Paul.
It's me. I'm sharing the room with Emio today, and I'm proud.
Tell him we say hi.
Yeah, you want to get on Emio's good list. That's for sure.
I mean, it's the easiest costume ever. Just a paper back over your head, and that's it. You're done. You're done.
You know what? I don't want to spoil anything. I mean, it's up to you, Mike, if you want to play it. But
I already have it. So
yeah, Nintendo sent me the official second trailer for Emio, and a lot of the people in the chat probably haven't seen it yet. So, I mean,
I already have it queued before you even asked. I was gonna play it anyway.
It's pretty exciting. So I don't want to give anything away, because the second trailer is exciting, but it does hopefully satisfy a lot of the rumors and speculation from people that, okay, Nintendo is the publisher of this game, but are they developing it or just publishing it? Who is this rumored partner that they have that is working with them? And the trailer basically does. So exciting. But on the gaming side of things, I've been playing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which has just been so much fun going back into. Unlike Breath of the Wild, I didn't completely fill up my Hero's Quest map, which caps out at like 250 hours. So there's a lot of green lines, a lot of areas that don't have the green lines in them. So I just put on the Korok mask, say, I'm going to go from point A to point B and walk/run there and get some Koroks along the way. And once again, just new ways to get them that I didn't know that happened before. Just like Breath of the Wild surprised me. Beautiful environments that no matter how many hours I put in, just still that new factor. And it's just wonderful. Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom were like two defining bookends to a generation. Although the generation's still going on, but if you had to start it and end it with Zelda, it was really a nice way to do it because they're both really high quality pieces of software, some of the best. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Although, well, I mean, I've got more to say because there's actually a lot this week.
Yeah. Is it related to the news that we're talking about today, or is it something else?
There's something else even. I mean, I just put up on YouTube, so now you could all see what I've been teasing for a while now. I shared what my Legend of Zelda pool is going to look like.
All right, we'll make that into a little special thing later in the podcast. So we'll go ahead and
pool's not done, but the mosaic is now done. So
perfect, awesome.
Publicly, you could see what does Link and what does a Triforce look like, and how will they be positioned in the pool, and that's pretty exciting. And last but not least, I was reminded today some fond memories of the Nintendo World Championships. 2015 event in Los Angeles. And I decided, you know what, might as well share it now. I was going to wait till the 18th. Technically, the event happened in June, but I just put it up today. If you look on my Twitter page at the 15-second mark, you'll see a familiar face in that video. So that's from 9 years ago, and I'm like, you know what, this is a hyped up moment in time that I captured, and it just really says why the Nintendo community is so passionate. And when you see what you see, if you're interested enough to look at it, you'll be like, man, Nintendo has one of those fan bases that's like unlike anything else. I mean, maybe Star Wars and Marvel, and there's some other ones that rival that. Disney, Superman, maybe
channel. Nobody
like Nintendo.
No one like Nintendo fans.
It is. They are the best. We are the best.
Yeah, we are the best.
It's such a passionate fan base. Anyways,
speaking of the best,
a lot going on.
I gotta take you over to the best correspondent we have directly from Hyrule. Talk about Joycey J. How you doing, Joycey?
Am I still echoing?
Nope, no echoing.
Okay. Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, we didn't have our usual warm up, so I was not ready.
No.
I have a lot to say about Emio, Emilio.
Emilio.
Emilio
Esteban.
Hashtag who's Emilio?
Who's Emilio?
Right.
Anyway, and I am not a horror fan in the least.
You're not?
Yeah.
Quick story. When I was 3, I think I was 3. I was born in 1883. Yeah. Thriller had come out. For my Michael Jackson fans.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, now I was 3 at the time. Now that I'm an adult, I have a whole different perspective of that video. But at 3 years old, Michael Jackson turned into a zombie and was dancing. And my dad let me watch that crap. Been scared of that kind of stuff ever since. Ever since. I tried, because I have a buddy of mine that is a very big horror fan. And I mean, turn the lights off. She's having popcorn. She's watching all the Saw movies back to back, and she's totally normal. Okay. And me, I still cry at Freddy Krueger. 42 guys. Okay. And mind you, but as I have a different perspective as an adult, but I don't watch anything, and I definitely don't play any games that disturb my spirit. I have to be at peace. So so I got a lot of commentary on Emio.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I believe it or not, I grew up in the 80s too, but my parents let me watch all the 80s horror movies. So Freddy Krueger, Jason, all those really weird. I think that 80s horror was really more psychological, crazy, but like you fall asleep, Freddy's gonna kill you in your dreams, then then the horror today is more, I think it's brutal today and more like the crazy. But we'll get into that later on in the same topic, because we're gonna go deep into that. Emio.
So I do want to say something about Freddy though. Emilio
Estevez. We'll talk about
we'll talk about Freddy and Emilio later.
Yeah, we'll talk about Freddy and Emilio together at the same time.
I'm a really big fan. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like poorly translated merchandise. There's a page on Twitter, X, whatever, that I follow. And it's like badly translated shirts.
It sounds hilarious.
It'll be like the Pepsi logo, but it's like Bepsis.
So
I want an off-brand
Emio
merch that all just says Emilio.
Emilio Estevez with the space of Emilio Estevez.
Like instead of saying like who is Emio, it's like Emio. It's like Emilio is whom. Like I would unironically wear that.
Yeah. In my corner of the woods, I've been playing Ocarina of Time. That's all I've been doing. That's
Where are you at?
How do you like Link with his green flowing cap?
I like him as a kid. He looks cool with the shorter cap. I just don't like the longer kind of hosey cap that I think it's just I'm very picky with animation, and that animation was done back in the day. It's not new. So I'm
coming into your house late at night, and I'm stealing all of your Zelda games. Let me give you
a little bit of background. I went to Full Sail University, right? I got my bachelor's degree in digital arts design, media, and film, and also marketing, right? And so it's a degree that captured everything. The digital media and design capture film, graphic design. That's why I took it, because it's just like a little, right? And so every single week they had us critique a different commercial from start to end. We had to write a large paper only on critiques, things that we will make better on the paper. Like literally every single week we had to turn one in for every single class that we did. And so they did that so that we can develop like that type of mind. Don't ever be satisfied with the first thing you do. Look it over, do it again, and do it better, right? So okay.
I'm just looking at like Joycey and Lily.
Look at
both
Paul.
of their heads are like.
Look at Paul.
How did I miss that?
That's what they're looking at. I'm like. Anyway,
I thought they were
Emilio
responding to you.
Emilio has Paul.
Cap.
Oh no,
that was crazy.
So yeah, that's where my head was when I was looking at that trailer. I'm like, I don't like that hat. I just don't like it. Looks like a blob, like a long blurry blob, And so,
real Zelda fans, we know how great Link's hat is.
Listen. I have nothing against Link's hat. I love Zelda. I'm not a real Zelda fan. I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan, and that's all I want to be. That's it. Just like I'm a Mario fan. I'm not a real Mario fan. I'm just a fan. That's all I want to be. That's all I want to be. I'm a real Nintendo fan. That's all. That's what I am. Real Nintendo fan. But yeah, Ocarina of Time.
You can't come into the Hyrule Palace
backyard work, a lot of backyard work, a lot of front yard work. Home stuff. I'm a dad, so just little dad duties with my two girls. My wife, got to give them attention. This is summertime, right? So we're doing a lot of summer stuff. We just came from IKEA earlier today. Oh my God, IKEA! It's like dads and IKEA don't mix. It's like a never. Have you guys been to IKEA?
Yeah.
It's like never ending. It's like, is that the exit? No, that's not the exit. We're just halfway through. I'm like, how? And we're trying to, and by the time we make to the end, There's hot dogs and there's ice cream, and they don't even have the real ice cream. They have the yogurt. The yogurt is
The
not
frozen
ice cream.
yogurt.
Yeah, that's not.
Yogurt's pretty good though.
You guys don't have meatballs like the
I was gonna say,
classic
we got the meatballs.
IKEA meatballs?
I didn't get the meatballs. No, I didn't get that.
They're really good.
It's
That-
like a prize, like for completing like the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Like
your
the-
reward. Yeah.
Like the hot dogs at Sam's Club or Costco.
Listen, halfway through, I was like, wait a minute, didn't we come through here? It felt so familiar. I'm like, we were just here. There's beds everywhere again. I'm like, oh my God, this is psychological. In order to go through IKEA, you need to get ready. You need to prepare yourself. Hey, you're going through a maze. There's no way out until you get to the very end. Okay. When you think you're there, no, you're halfway there. You still got. You got.
Wait a minute.
We're gonna
Wait a
have,
minute. No, go ahead. Go ahead, Zach.
I was gonna say we're gonna have to have you review when you complete the Emio game, whatever it's actually called.
Yeah.
Which one was the scarier experience, IKEA or
Oh,
Emio?
Man,
No, see, I was gonna say we can make like a whole new horror game. You know, like man gets lost in IKEA,
yeah.
and it's like you have all these obstacles. Do you buy this bed or do you build this one?
That's actually a funny genre to think up of. There are movies like Scary Movie that are parody movies,
Mhm.
and like Not Another Teen Movie back in the day, and like Hot Shots Part Dukes and stuff like that.
I love hot shots.
How about some parody games? I think that would be kind of funny.
It
You
would
mentioned
be
that,
awesome.
like a survival horror, but instead of zombies, it is
Mario.
hordes of shoppers inside of department store, and it's like time management with how many pieces of clothing can you hold, and like hangers and stuff on your arm, and how many times can you have your arm pulled until you snap, and like how many things can you Tetris into your grocery cart until it overflows and you crack the eggs, and you have money balancing and management that you have to be on top of, and like, oh, you went overboard, and like,
Question is, I know that when it comes to film, parodies are protected, right? But is it still protected when it comes to video games?
There was a thing that happened a while ago where a third-party game got a little bit too close, where they made two lead characters in plumbers' outfits with a color scheme very similar to Mario and Luigi, and that got shut down. But that's
was it a parody, or was it just a literal copy?
Not 100%, but too close, and within too close of a genre. Like, look at Pal World. You know what I mean? That was raising some questions. So it doesn't have to be a parody on any one particular genre that's like, oh, that name is too close, that costume's too close, but just like a little make fun of a genre, or have a silly take without jumping on someone's IP.
You want so what you're saying is you want a parody game written and produced by the Wayans family.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I can get behind that.
Like if I make a game called Barrio, right? And I make a game, it's about the worst plumber in the world, Barrio, right? And he saves the princess, but by the time he gets there, he's too late. He was too slow. And it's a parody.
No. It's not even that he's too late. He gets there and he's like, and Peach is like, excuse me, not Peach. Her name would be
Plums.
What would her name be? Plums.
Leech.
Plums would be there. Barrio, what brings you over?
Plums.
And what brings you over today, Barrio? And he would say, I'm here to rescue you. From what? I'm just at home. I just got off work. What are you talking about?
Hey, isn't Bowser?
Who the heck is Bowser?
Browser.
It would just be Doug.
I go here every
Hey, Doug.
What are you talking about? Doug is my husband. Well, anyway.
I think technically,
I think
if
that's
your
a good
parody
idea.
is making a commentary, it's allowed. But
So-
it has to be making a point about the original, because then you're able to recontextualize. Because that's why some of the clip reactors get taken down, is when they're just like, oh, funny, and they're not actually adding anything to it.
Yeah.
But when they're contributing and changing what it is.
Mhm.
So I know Nathan Fielder before opened a restaurant called Dumb Starbucks, and it had the exact same logo, the exact same menu, and everything, but everything said "dumb" next to it. And Starbucks could not shut him down. He just stopped paying his bills, and then it closed.
That's hilarious, man. That is funny.
I feel like I remember that. I feel like I do at least.
Starbucks. Well, I'm not gonna say that.
I think we came up with a really solid idea. We should totally work on that and pitch it. And I mean, there's so much goofiness we can get out of that.
I
have ideas.
I got a buddy who's working on a horror survival game right now, and it's you know how sea turtles hatch and they have to make it to the water.
Yeah.
So you're trying
to
journey. You're a little sea turtle and you just hatched and you're trying to get to the water before getting eaten by seagulls or picked up by kids and stuff.
That sounds scary. That's life for the
Yeah.
That sounds scary.
It does sound scary. And speaking of scary, that's a good segue.
But there's a lot of memes for IKEA, by the way, because of Echoes of Wisdom. So because of the table that Zelda keeps echoing all the time, it's actually.
Because of the IKEA. That was weak. I thought it sounded so much better before I said it out loud.
That's what it's all about. IKEA echoes everything. So I'm pretty sure that Zelda's full-time employee of IKEA. So
if anybody was hanging out at Nate's stream earlier this week, I was on and I was saying, okay, well, Anuma's flat out told us, I don't even know how many echoes there are. I haven't counted them all myself. And all I heard was tables and chairs. We get to beat up enemies with tables and chairs. So tables and chairs hype.
Tables louder than chairs. It's a WWF match.
Oh, you know,
exactly.
WWE match just like that, only using rupees to beat up enemies or only using chairs to beat the game. I'm looking.
People are going to try that. They're going to speed run it with just all chairs. Right?
That's what that's called.
Well, you guys are. I'm looking for something for the next topic. We're talking about, guys. We're gonna be talking about Emio. Okay, it's breaking the internet. It's Nintendo. Let me go ahead and introduce this plot here, because then I want to show you. I'll let you guys take over with what you guys think. We'll show in the chat. Let me know if you guys want to see the trailer, because I know not everyone. That's not for everybody. It is a creepy trailer. It is kind of nightmarish. People, I have to respect people.
Come on, it's rated E.
Yeah, but it's not
Emio.
No.
I was like, it's not rated E. What are you talking about?
I'm like, oh,
the trailer is rated E.
Yeah, that's right. But I wanna make sure that I don't want to alienate everybody. It is a horror game. There's no doubt about it. It is disturbing. Yeah, because anybody who's afraid of jack-o'-lanterns and then afraid of paper bags over your head, and then the music and the eeriness and all that stuff, it's all there to cause you fear, because that's what it is.
The dread.
Fear is a big kind of part of entertainment nowadays, right? There's music that not music, but more like movies that are horror, and that's what they're there for. So
yeah.
I might show the other version though. Let's go ahead and show the newer version, the trailer 2 of this trailer, and then Paul's giving you a preview. I've seen the trailer already. It's not very scary. Okay, let's see here. I want to see. All right. So let's go ahead and show. I want to go ahead and give you a preview of the trailer 2 that just came out here. Very, very, very well produced, high quality video here. It's pretty scary. I think it's a little scarier than the first one.
Very much so.
Let me go ahead and put the volume on. All right, can you guys see it well?
Wait, open it to full screen, or can you?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can. Let me see if I.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Let me know if that works. Did that work?
It did not work.
No,
it did not work.
So yeah, that's probably why.
This is why I'm not the technical.
Paul, do you have it on? Do you have it on your YouTube account?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go.
It's on my YouTube channel.
I'll go to YouTube. By the way, go out and subscribe to Paul Gale if you have not done so yet, because you'll get content like this. Like, you know, it's gold.
It should be on everyone's YouTube channel. But
anyway, I got Paul right here.
To me first, so
Paul right here. Okay, look at the face, man. It's just hilarious. All right. Yeah. You're gonna get copyrighted by that little click there, Paul. Okay.
Oh, hear what he did.
That's okay.
Is it better? Is it better now?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and then click play.
Viewers' discretion is advised.
Dang.
For those of you who are listening and not watching the stream of this, on Paul's YouTube channel, you can find a recreation of the trailer done by Paul, a live action version.
We'll
just leave it at that.
Yeah, just come to the podcast. Come to the actual video podcast to watch it, because there's no way of explaining this. You gotta see with your own eyes.
Best trailer ever. I think that might be Breath of the Wild's original trailer. I think.
I like the winter coat. The coat.
That's my favorite shot. Right
I like the ending one.
They're buddies.
Look at this one.
They're buddies.
That's the one I like.
This is the creepiest shot. This is the creepiest shot.
Which
no,
one?
wait, it's the one at the end. The one, the shot at the end.
There's two.
There's a couple of them here.
Yeah, I think there's
the first one right there, and then there's a black and white one afterwards, right before the logo.
Yeah, four total photos.
I mean, it's so quick.
That could be the thumb. We're gonna change the podcast.
Yeah, seriously, if that would have been the trailer, people would have been just screaming.
That's the podcast thumbnail from now on.
From now on.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do that.
Even when the Switch 2 is officially announced, that's the thumbnail.
I'm screenshotting this right here, and I'm going to add it as a thumbnail for the podcast. No, I'm serious. Watch, I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now.
I fully believe it.
Oh my gosh!
All right, let's see here. Okay, this is the some type of car insurance promotional there.
So it seems like Paul has a pretty good idea on who Emio is.
Yeah, I don't think Paul knows who he is. I think Paul is Emio.
Paul, you finally got a video game about your life. This is great.
I finally got it. The one thing I can't confirm is, do you play as Emio or do you face off against?
That's a good question. Good question. I think you probably run from him.
I mean, they look pretty happy.
I will run from him.
I don't know. He seems friendly. He smiles.
I feel like they run to each other.
Friendly?
There's a hug there for sure.
Have you seen the hand? The hand, the creepy hand that kind of jiggles or wiggles or.
No, wait. It's Paul who's attacking Emio, so we actually have to face off with Paul as the final boss.
Makes more sense.
That's what it is. Emio's innocent.
So for those of you just encountering this, this is Paul's parody version of the trailer, which he did a fantastic job on, and basically it's now the thumbnail. If you guys can refresh, it is now a thumbnail for this video. But Emio, what is Emio? Nintendo recently, a couple of days ago, 2 days ago to be exact, they released a trailer from out of the blue with something very similar to that. Like, I mean, very, very, very similar. The music is from the actual trailer, right, Paul?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically it's like that. It's basically a horror game. It looks like a horror game, and what basically I'm saying basically a lot. What really surprises everyone is that it looks like it's a Nintendo first-party game, because there's no other branding on the trailer but a big giant Nintendo logo at the end, right? It's like an 11-second trailer, and there is a big Nintendo logo right at the end, and we're all like thinking, how Nintendo is, I put it, as Nintendo have like a midlife crisis. They just had their best year ever, their best system ever, right? And is it towards the end they're releasing this Emio game, or is it a Switch 2? There's so many questions, right? I mean, there's so many questions on that. Oh my god, this is nice. Animal Crossing. I need to get
figures.
I need to get that. But I'm gonna go down to the trailer so you guys can see the original.
They have been busy, as you can see.
Yeah, look at this. Even more. What? More footage for the game.
That's not more footage. That a lot of that was in the trailer.
Yeah.
That's new.
Oh
no,
it's
so more footage.
That's a longer shot.
Yeah, it's more footage.
That would be more footage if it's a longer shot.
Yeah.
Okay, that one shot is longer. That one shot, but most of this is the trailer.
Nice.
I mean, I could drop Emio and just talk about this right now.
And did you see that this week?
We will be
not only that, but yeah, if you
down
scroll
for it.
down, not just the Ninja Turtles game that's coming out this July, but the other new Ninja Turtles game coming out in October, and Ace Combat 7 just getting that shadow drop.
Yeah.
So it's like been a solid week for just trailers, and you could say any of these could have also been in the Nintendo Direct. That's how strong Nintendo is right now. That they're like, we didn't even need to put in this really cool looking Turtles one.
Yeah, that one looks really cool. Even Casey Jones, that's awesome. I love that. All right, so this is the original trailer here. This is an image of it, right?
That's
an image, but then you have to click the image to go to the trailer.
And then you have to
you click the image.
Click the link above the image.
So they kind of teased it, because if you go even to the video, it only says that who is Emio. That's it. Like it doesn't say anything else.
So there really is no actual name to the game yet. It's just a 15-second trailer. If we deduct the click and everything else, 12 to 13 seconds. And as you can see, 4,000 comments, 477,000 views on a trailer for a game that nobody has ever heard of from Nintendo. And this is insane. You can go on YouTube, you can go on their page, and a lot of trailers don't get this many views. But this is what we're looking at right now. And that's it. And so this translates to smiling man. This little Japanese here is translate to smiling man, right? And I just noticed this in the beginning. I'm pretty sure everybody noticed already, but right towards the beginning, at the very beginning, right there is a rating: mature 17 plus. Right? Has Nintendo ever in the hit? Well, let's say I'm not counting the playing cards. I'm talking about Nintendo from the NES moving forward. Have they ever published a first party mature 17 plus game?
I can only think of like 5.
Oh, that?
I can think of probably 5.
Mature?
Yes.
And first party?
Perfect Dark on Nintendo 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day on Nintendo 64, Eternal Darkness on Nintendo GameCube, Geist on Nintendo GameCube, and one more, if I'm not mistaken, Fatal Frame 4 on Wii U. Correct. Oh, and also Devil's Third on Wii U.
I thought those were second party.
Are they developed?
Like they're published by Nintendo, but they're developed by somebody
Nintendo.
else.
Who made them?
In the 2 N64 examples, Rare, which at the time was 51% owned basically by Nintendo, and all of those Rare games were basically considered first party, but weren't technically. Eternal Darkness was developed by Silicon Knights, but that was a Nintendo first party published game. Technically, Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3 are Nintendo published games, so that brings that list even higher. Not developed, but published. So the question is this published by Nintendo and co-developed by Polygon Network, as you saw at the end of trailer 2, or is it actually developed by Nintendo and PGN is just supplying any kind of character animations of Emio? We don't yet know, is it fully developed or just published? But either way, this is going to be a Nintendo IP going forward. This is theirs, just like Astral Chain. Astral Chain was developed by, Hideki Kamiya and the Platinum Games Group, but Nintendo owns that one. So it's pretty cool. But yeah,
you might have said it, Paul. I'm not sure because the list that you read was in a different order than the one I was reading. We had Geist for the GameCube.
Yes.
Yep, you did.
Okay, you did say that. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And all those games were M17 plus.
Yep.
So that's 7 total.
Any horror of any of those games horror?
Geist.
Yeah.
Fatal Frame was too.
Oh, Eternal Darkness, even bigger than that. And Fatal Frame, literally horror. So it's probably like the 4th horror game Nintendo's done.
Okay.
And Bayonetta is, in my opinion, isn't horror. However, there are, in the first one at least, there are a couple bosses that it's kind of like, ooh, this is
it's not branded as a scary game, but it has horrific images.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
and you can say Luigi's Mansion as a trilogy or horror game.
Yes.
I'm so afraid of Luigi.
Can you say that is Nightmare on not Nightmare? What's that? What's the Jack Skellington one called?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Night Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Is that a horror movie?
No.
I mean, or just horror themed.
No, it's just Tim Burton-ish. Like it looks very creepy, but
yeah, it's not.
It has a beautiful
not,
message, though.
Yeah, it's not a horror movie at all. It's a Christmas movie. That's basically.
Yeah, it's not. It's.
But those other ones, yeah. I mean, Eternal Darkness.
Okay,
but wait a minute. I think what Mike's trying to get to though is it a Nintendo team in the Nintendo studio saying this is our game, not by somebody else, and then Nintendo's just going to fund it and publish it?
Yeah,
is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Exactly, yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping, but I'll get to that later.
Oh, I'm hoping.
And shout out to Andres Restart. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, my dear. Please, all y'all go subscribe to Andres as well.
Welcome.
He's also been a guest on the show before. We love him.
Is Andre in the chat right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Andre, let me know if you want me to send you a link because I need to hear about what you think about this. I'll send you a link. You can join the podcast midway if you want. Just say send me a link, and I'll send you a link on Twix. But
it's Twitter.
Twix.
Mama named it Twitter. I'm calling it Twitter.
Yes, Twitter. Fine. Okay, Mom.
I think what's so interesting about this, first party, second party thing aside, so this would be the 8th game based on that list.
Yeah.
And 4 out of 8 would technically fall in the horror category. And then even the ones that don't fall in the horror category are Bayonetta 2 and 3, which lean into it. That's just kind of funny when you actually look at Nintendo.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like most first party games
We can see your chat.
Most M-rated games are just rated M because of like violence or something,
Yeah.
But to have Nintendo's 8 published games that are horror games and that are rated M and have half of them be horror.
Oh, and actually,
that's just kind of funny.
I forgot about it. You are correct though. Like, yeah, definitely on the horror front, they're pretty up there. But the Wii U version of Ninja Gaiden 3 or Ninja Gaiden, Razor's Edge, that's the 3rd one. That was published by Nintendo on Wii U. Now it came out elsewhere from Tecmo Koei, but call that one as well.
Anyway, this is my first experience with the horror game from Nintendo ever. Maybe because
okay.
Maybe because gaming wise and Nintendo, I'm never kind of geared that way. I've always been stuck to Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, all these games, the bigger IPs. But this is the creepiest thing I've ever seen from Nintendo ever.
Hold on, what about Metroid Fusion?
Metroid Fusion. I don't consider Metroid. I don't consider Metroid a horror game. I consider it like a sci-fi thriller.
Metroid Fusion in particular.
I haven't.
Wait, I got a question. So, Mike, I've been, of course I follow you on Twitter. So I know what your thoughts are on it and everything. Is there anybody here? I think I know what Andres thinks, but we'll wait for him to get here.
Yeah.
But is anybody sitting here like, oh my gosh, Nintendo's freaking me out. I'm so not cool with this because I know Mike,
But
you're like,
let me
I'm not cool with this.
Yeah, for those of you who don't share, who don't follow me on Twitter, let me go ahead and share what I
Context.
think. Yeah, let me go ahead and share what I think about this game. At the beginning, right at the beginning of the actual presentation, I got super excited for it because I'm like, what the heck is this? Emio? Who is Emio? And that's the question that they want us to ask. Emilio, who's Emilio? ¿Quién es Emilio?
¿Dónde está Emilio?
¿Dónde está Emilio? And so like everyone, I'm like, Emilio no Emilio aquí. Emilio no conozco Emilio. And so so I was excited. I end up starting. I actually made a video. I have not published it. I'm not sure if I'm going to publish it because it's kind of creepy. I'm actually made it even more creepier than the actual trailer because okay, look at this us, right? Look at this. Look at us.
Yay! There we are.
Two handsome brothers.
But wait, everybody's forgetting something. Ocarina of Time, the Shadow Temple, and Majora's Mask. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Majora's Mask is I think I put the moon on par with this Emilio thing.
Beneath the well to this day.
Yeah.
I rushed through it.
Dead hand.
So so basically this is one of the reasons why I kind of geared away from it, and this is because of personal reasons, because of my personal life growing up, guys. I got story to tell. I've been places, been through stuff, and I'm a survivor, and I'm at the end of the line here. I think it's because that's why I stay in my little wholesome bubble. But I just went over the ratings, right? The ratings, of course, is 17 mature, but then it says because of strong themes of violence, suicide references and themes, cruelty, and domestic abuse. I've been through all of those things growing up, literally. So I'm like, you know what? I don't think I want to share this type of content with my viewers because I do have little eyes and little ears watching. A lot of you have sent me your pictures watching with your family, and that just broke my heart, but touched my heart. Like really, it did. I got a picture of a birthday cake with my logo on it, and I'm like, I don't know what to do about that, but I just feel so grateful because I have this community that is so family friendly and so really like that I say, you know what, I don't want to share that with that. There's a reason why they're here, and I want to keep that safe. Everybody, welcome Andre Restart to the chat. What's up, Andre?
What's up, man?
Andre.
That's Emilio. Get him.
Emilio, ¿dónde está Emilio?
Wait a minute. That's gonna be our parody game. Instead of who is Emio, it's gonna be who is Emilio, and that's gonna be the name of the game. And that's
Emilio.
Emilio.
Let me tweet Marlon Wayans and see what he said.
Emilio no tiene papeles.
Y mi primito, Andres. Hi,
I'm good.
That's Texas Spanish. That's not real Spanish.
Let's go ahead and get,
I understand the Spanish words. I'm Miamian.
Yeah, he's Cuban.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying, Texas Spanish is its own language.
There's all kinds of Spanish. Every Spanish is a different
Every single Spanish together, including like old Spanish, like from like generations ago.
Spain Spanish, Cuban Spanish, Texan Spanish, Miami Spanish, Puerto Rican Spanish, Dominican Spanish, Argentinian. Like it's all over the place. Like it's all different.
We all get
they have different. Every language has a different. Like every Spanish dialect has like different words that I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
Spanish is complicated.
Yes, it is.
It's a very hard language.
Yeah,
it comes from Latin. So Latin is the most complicated language in the world. So
that's correct.
All Spanish comes through there. So Andre, I want to get your first impressions here before I go to the rest of the cast, because right now we've been just
taking I ask you a quick question about what you were talking about before we jump into stuff?
What was I talking about?
Where did you find that? Because I'm just really curious about the strong themes, violence, cruelty, and stuff. Like where? Because I didn't see that in the trailer. So
if you follow WarioWare, I think.
Yeah.
He's really good at sharing information like that.
That's where I got it from. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Now where he got it,
he got it from an Australian type of rating, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's an official ratings board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the game has been rated, meaning it's done. It's just, I mean, Nintendo's gonna that could be Miyamoto in there with the thing, or maybe Furukawa with the back over his head,
or Paul Gale.
But there's also there's also something to consider, that to what extent, right? Because even though there's a very little, it needs to be categorized that way, because even it's just one instance on the entire game, like that'll be the question, like to what extent. We're talking about all those,
Oh, I got comments on that too.
I mean,
want our guests to go first.
To me, the fact that those are there, just because I've been through all of that in my life, in real life.
Yeah, absolutely, totally understandable.
Any type of any type of that is not me helping somebody who's going through those issues. I won't bring it up.
Yep, absolutely.
Paul's good. Paul's good. So, all right. Before we get out of hand, I want to get Andre's impressions on his first.
I definitely have thoughts. I'll say in terms of like the rating stuff. I think we should read into this, right? Like, I think some people will be like, "Oh, it's just ratings; it doesn't mean anything." But like, for example, they don't mention blood, and oftentimes blood, gore would be mentioned. They don't mention blood here. And I think that might hint at like the kind of gameplay we could be looking at, right? Like, as opposed to this being like a slasher, this might be more of like a sort of thriller suspense kind of horror game, So I'm not expecting like there may be some blood, but it's not so much that they felt was worth mentioning here, right? So we're probably not going to be seeing ourselves get like disemboweled, but we are probably going to see backstory about like this character, right? Like, I'm theorizing that it's a multi like personality sort of split thing, because we see different faces of the bag, and the shadow doesn't match the character up front. But something also mentioned, like there are a lot of Nintendo games that aren't rated mature that do have like instances of some of these dark themes, right? Like someone
Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yes, exactly.
Breath of the Wild does. Sort of.
In Xenoblade Chronicles 3, someone shoots themselves. They literally shoot themselves in the head, right? Like, you don't see the blood splatter, but you see them.
It's pretty obvious what happened, right? So,
exactly. I mean, with the Wind Waker, like Link at the very end. I mean, spoiler alert, but it came out in 2002. Stabs Ganon in the skull, right? Like, yes, it's a cel-shaded game, but there are those moments that, if there was more of that moment, then the game would probably be a higher rating. I do feel like there's a little bit of a spectrum. But these things is probably like, hey, like domestic abuse is probably like a constant like story beat, right? Cruelty is probably like a constant story beat. Like, these are like what the game has, right?
Yeah.
And as a Metroid fan, I'm just gonna say, Emio makes me think about Emmy from Metroid Dread, which isn't technically a horror game, but I feel like it has pockets of horror or it's a thriller because you're getting chased, and it's pretty. It gives you dread. Also, technically, Metroid is inspired by Alien, which is a horror movie. So
yeah, it is.
And Metroid Fusion is closest probably to being.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Metroid Fusion is this a Game Boy Advance game?
Yeah, 2001, alongside
Yes.
Metroid Prime, pretty much.
So good.
Because I have it on my list. I have like a big list of games that I need to play, and I have them what console they're at.
It's probably one of the easier Metroid games to play through because it's more linear.
Yeah,
they kind of just tell you where to go. But it's not I wouldn't call it a bad thing. It's just like that's just what the direction they took for that game. Anyways, I'm excited for this. I don't think it's going to be a big project. I think this is probably a small thing. I heard you guys kind of talking about like who might be developing it. Like we think it might be Bloober Team, but we think it might not be Bloober Team. This is kind of up for debate. I do think that whoever it is, like it's kind of tough, right? Because like if Nintendo's publishing it, I have confidence in the game, but that doesn't mean it's always going to work out. Like with Endless Ocean, I think they kind of, they disappointed me a little bit. But it's not that the game is bad. It's more so they just didn't have like the execution is fine, right? Like it's not like a terrible buggy mess or anything. They just didn't put as much effort into it as I would have wanted. Their vision wasn't what I wanted for the game. Like if that makes any sense. It's kind of like the sports titles, right? Like we like the sports titles. They're very polished. They look good. They play well, but usually they lack depth, right? Because they have a really quick turnaround. And so, like, I guess what I'm getting at is that I don't think like this game is going to be like a trashy, glitchy mess.
Yeah.
But it just kind of comes down to like, what decisions are they going to make from a design perspective? Is that going to appeal to, the right people? So, I'm not convinced it's going to be a great game, but I don't think it's like, for example, if it's Bloober Team that's helping out, if Nintendo's overseeing it, I have confidence it's going to be a polished product. So I'm not worried from that regard, right? You look at something like, going back to Metroid, Samus Returns. Samus Returns was made by Mercury Steam, as was Metroid Dread, right? But they kind of proved themselves as Metroid Samus Returns on 3DS, because before that they made a Castlevania game, which kind of had mid to subpar reviews, right? But under the right direction by Nintendo, they made a really good game. So I think whoever's helping out Nintendo with this, be it internal or outsourced, I think as long as Nintendo's overseeing it, it's not going to be terrible.
I would love it if it was Mr. Miyamoto's own personal passion project.
This is his final thing.
He's been thinking of different video games, different genres, things that inspire him in life along the way. How it's been oftentimes throughout his career, going back to Zelda and Pikmin and other things in between. And this is just, I'm watching certain films and I'm experiencing certain things, and I'd like to leave a really interesting footnote in the career, and I'll still be around to do this, but here's a passionate project. It's like, wow, what an industry shaker, what a company shaker, just when you think that you've established an identity in the last 40 years, here you are with Labo. Here you are with some different cardboard. Oh my gosh. Emio Labo. I can be crazy. Create your own Emio Labo VR. Wow.
What if this is a Waluigi game?
It's pretty good under there, I gotta say.
Waluigi game.
Yeah.
But I really hope, I think it's fantastic that it's Nintendo published, that they have one more thing to diverse their arsenal. So regardless of whether they're developing it or not, that's cool. The fact that they put up a designated individual trailer, the mystery behind it, I'm kind of like what Andres said. This isn't going to be just a junker game. They made its own designated website for it. That doesn't necessarily equate to 100% success or quality, but it means there's a certain amount of effort being backed up behind it. There's a very different marketing campaign behind it. Even with trailer 2, kind of giving a tease as who's working on it with them, with that blue logo at the end. People were wondering. Now you kind of have an idea. But so regardless, that's cool. We could use something different. It won't be for everyone, but gosh, does it just look good in Nintendo's portfolio?
It's gonna sell. I think it's gonna be a top seller, more than 1 million copies.
Man. If it's made by Nintendo, though, that would be the really sweet spot. Even if it's not Mr. Miyamoto, just made by a Nintendo good quality studio in Japan to show, yes, from the same folks that have the gameplay mechanics down, ultra refined, high quality Mario and Zelda and Kirby and Luigi's Mansion and Donkey Kong and Retro Studio, whomever, Monolith Soft, from these talented folks, but totally taking on a different genre. So when you play this game, it's going to be crisp. It's going to be well optimized. You're going to be looking at, visuals that are distinct and dark, but also Nintendo-like in terms of polish, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And if it's like a deep psychological thriller and, it's got an emotional story and some, obviously deaths, we presume, and subject matter. I don't know. This, I don't want to get too excited and be like, this is a Game of the Year qualifier. But if this is a high quality game, that's in the contention almost instantly, because the sheer amount of talk and volume behind it, if it is that high quality, it kind of shoots it up to the list past a lot of other good quality games just from that crazy unexpected factor. So I am probably more hyped than I should be. But then again, I like this kind of stuff. If any of you remember when Perfect Dark was being shown off back in the day, they had a fake which was a real website, but they had a Carrington Institute website and a Datadyne website. And these were the two companies in Perfect Dark. So right before the game was coming out, like in late 1999, you could go to carringtoninstitute.com, datadyne.com, and you could search around and you could play on the website, look at secret files. It would be updated weekly. A couple months later, you could hack into some security camera and see stuff. It was all sort of a prelude to the game itself. And if you didn't know, if you were none the wiser and didn't know that this game was coming out, you wouldn't know that you're on this website highlighting a video game. I mean, people think that Nintendo was creative with the Super Smash Bros. Dojo and slowly revealing characters like in Brawl and for Wii U and this and that.
That's my childhood. That's a core memory for me.
They did it several years earlier with Perfect Dark. So this almost gives me a modern take on that, where they're doing something pretty clever, but probably the most different and clever yet. So
I like this type of marketing because
different reasons why
it actually immerses you more into the game. Like the marketing that they actually go out, and they did this with Smallville. I watched Smallville, and I remember they actually made a LexCorp website. You can go inside and then read all about Lex Luthor and all that stuff. So
that kind of stuff is fun.
I'm really into that type of marketing. I would love this game if there was some type of investigative game, like you have to investigate mysteries, like like that. But when it comes to, I wouldn't like it if it was just another typical jump scare game. I would love for it to be like a horror mystery game. You have to find out who is Emio, because that's the gist of the game.
That feels like a good hint.
Yeah, maybe you're a detective somewhere, and you just kind of. Go on this mission, try to solve these unsolved mysteries. You find out who this guy is. You go more deeper into the rabbit hole and make it more interesting. But I know Joycey had something to say about Emio, and I'm really intrigued on the Joycey's Corner on Mr. Emio. And is there a Mrs. Emio? Who knows?
Questions.
Well, by the way, the mug. The mug should have its own podcast.
The mug is
it's a representative of our Nintopics, podcast. It belongs here with us. It doesn't need its own. Also, I broke one of its twins. So
man.
I know, I felt so bad.
Was a blood? Go ahead.
It really was. It was Emio did it, or it was Emilio, one of them.
Or Amelia.
Right? You never know.
Why you gotta bring all the girls into it?
We don't
go to your room, Andres.
We don't know what's under the bag,
right?
This big thick coat, big bag, could be anything.
Actually, we're seeing that we're looking at the face right now. That's
it's Paul. Let me find out Paul's the developer on this game.
What you guys say, Joycey?
Okay, so first things first. I agree with just about everything you said, Mike.
Yeah.
That how rare that is. However,
how rare
that because you and I have kind of the same vibe. It's like there's certain things I won't have even in my house because of spiritual reasons, right? So
I should not tell you about what I've been watching lately.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
No, not like that. Oh God, no! I meant
I knew
horror stuff.
Yeah, y'all. That's how Andres got them guns. See, that's how he got them guns
from running away from demons.
You gotta face them off.
Yeah. I can't with today.
Y'all, this has been such a rough week.
It all started when Lilly was like, yes, and ever since then, I just have not been able to stop laughing.
It has been a very rough week, and I am in extreme pain, and I haven't felt well in 2 weeks now. So, oh well. Okay, seriously though. However, from a business standpoint, this is freaking brilliant. This is brilliant. If this game is by Nintendo, they're Nintendo devs. They're putting their toe in the water, if you will, because all the games we were talking about earlier, the rated M games and all that other stuff, we have to remember Nintendo kind of had to embrace the family friendly thing. I don't think that was their original goal. I think their original goal was we want to do everything, we want to make everything, but then
they were doing everything.
Yeah.
And they were, but then they were like, but this is what people are buying from us,
Yes.
and we enjoy these games, so we're going to continue to make them.
Yeah.
GameCube was such a good time because that was Nintendo, I would argue, at their best in terms of doing everything, right? Like there was a lot of Star Fox games, there was F-Zero games, there were RPGs, right? But they had a lot more balance back then. Now it's like, all right, every Mario Universe character, Star Fox will wait maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
F-Zero wait maybe 20 years, right? Like it's kind of like being a YouTuber, right? You know, there are certain topics that are going to do well, but there are other topics you want to talk about, but you know, if you do it, it's not going to do well. I feel like that's where Nintendo's at now.
So here's the thing.
You up. I'm sorry. You keep going, Joycey.
Thank you. So here's the thing, though, because this week, I think it was yesterday, was the 9th year of anniversary of Iwata's passing, right?
Yeah.
We're still in Iwata's kind of era, right? And that's not a bad thing because we did really good. He would be proud. So, but what I think is, I'm wondering if Nintendo is like, we really, really have a lot of steam now. We want to kind of branch out into other things because as a business, Nintendo doesn't only want just the people who love Zelda and Mario and Metroid and Pokemon and Astral Chain and just Bayonetta. They want everybody. Yeah. Okay. They want everybody. And this is no shade or no hate, but I think that's kind of one of the things that, PlayStation is kind of finding out, like, oh, well, our fans don't only like realistic shooters and realistic action games and everything. They like, Astrobot, which is, we can see it's very, very fun looking, and I'm actually excited to see more of it. So, so what I'm hoping is Nintendo is going to continue to embrace that family friendly. I think they always will. They're not going to change what's already worked, right? But going out into this, I think this is a good thing. And I'm kind of hoping that they're like, okay, we're going to branch out a little bit more. Okay. So they like, maybe this horror game does really well. And I hope it does. I'm not buying it. I don't want that in my house. But it does really well for the horror fans. And then Nintendo's like, okay, this is good. This is good. Maybe we can try something a little bit more first person shooter, a little bit more gore, a little bit more blood. It's strictly as a business move because they're not going to lose the core audience, but they got to bring in more. You know what I mean? Yep. So they got to bring in more because then there's going to be the Switch in mom and dad's room that's going to have Emio and Bayonetta and Fatal Frame and all those kind of things and whatever other new new crazy stuff they come up has, Mario, Zelda, and everything else. And then the other thing real quick I was going to say, and then I want you guys to all totally chime in. Nintendo has always dabbled with a little bit of wink, wink. Yeah. Get it? Our adults will get it. The adults will get it. I brought up Breath of the Wild.
I'm not an adult. I don't know what's going on.
I hope you're an adult with what you've been. Right. No, let me stop. Let me stop. But in Breath of the Wild,
I'm an adult.
Yes, yes, Andres, you are a big boy.
For a while.
You're a big boy. Yes, dear. Yes. Okay. Go get your kitty. Talking about his cat Ruby. Also, yeah, where is Ruby? Like, seriously, I haven't seen her.
She's chilling. She's good.
Okay, we gotta get Ruby on the show. Seriously though, but Breath of the Wild had a rating and it had like it was rated E10+ because there was alcohol in it. Did anybody really pay attention to the alcohol references? Or
I didn't.
Yeah, it's the Gerudo bar.
See, yep. And then before that, I guess the ESRB didn't catch it, or something else was going on back in 2000. But Majora's Mask, Chateau Lon Milk or whatever. What was it, guys? Chateau Milk.
Yeah, just the milk bar.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but yeah.
But yeah, that was alcohol. That was what they were implying.
They had the red on their faces to kind of
they were drunk.
Imply drunk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So
no, they were just happy.
Yeah, they were
very happy.
They were filled with glee.
It was
Nobody
enough
was
to make it an
happy at
E10
Majora's
Plus,
Mask.
though.
There you go. So Nintendo's always played with this. So
It's
it's
enough.
kind of cool to kind of let them have it. Go get all those other fans. I will still continue to play Zelda.
Well, you made a great point, because I remember in the NES, Super and Nintendo and Super Nintendo, there were many games they were you know, it was, it was like Nintendo was really giving us. I remember playing Lethal Weapon on NES, and I think there were a few curse words in the game too. So, you know,
I mean, you got the DK rap.
Yeah,
you know,
that it can't get any more harder than that.
Don't
you
go
know,
that far, yeah.
Can we change the layout? Because this is starting to freak me out a little bit.
Joyce wants the black and white one.
Okay,
the fourth one.
Actually, I just kind of want to stop looking at it. I'd rather look at y'all.
Well, see, ESRB in 1994, like primarily thanks to Mortal Kombat and Doom, that's when they created this ratings, and that was like very different. They had EC, early childhood. They had KA, kids to adults, and later kids to adults became E for everyone. They always had T for teen, M for mature, AO, adults only. Majora's Mask came out in 2000, but E10 Plus didn't come out until 2005. So that's why maybe Majora's Mask would have been E10 Plus, which you could see in the 3DS version. They did give it that rating. So it wasn't enough to make it 13 back in the day, teen. But, you know, had ESRB had that E10 Plus back in 2000, it would have. Perfect Dark, on the other hand, that was a mature rated first party Nintendo game. Well, you know, developed by Rare, and Conker's Bad Fur Day also hard M. But by then, things like Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, plenty of games were M on the platform. Resident Evil 2, M,
And that's why I want this to start branching out, you know, sprinkle just a few here and there, you know, of the adult section of Nintendo, if you will.
Think of this. Nintendo's got a good partnership going on with Universal Studios. Universal Studios has Hollywood Horror Nights, right?
Which is really good.
So imagine Emio being big enough that
they'll be there
they
next
have a deal. They've already got Super Nintendo World down here, and now you've got Emio up at top. That's Nintendo inclusion. You've got a popular studio that you're working with. You could have, you know, a movie or a series or something interesting that is you know, visualization of this that's not just gaming media, you know, that we all like, that people just want to watch and be like, dude, around Halloween time, let's watch the Emio, you know, 6-part series that ties into the game, and maybe that gets people to the game and the game gets people into the movie. And if you're partnering up with Universal or whomever, that's just more bucks, more diversity, and it keeps you from not losing an audience, because some people do grow up, and it helps you build an audience, and it's not losing your identity of what made you successful. Like, you know what, we're just abandoning everything. Forget all you Mario fans out there. No,
not their
it's
money
just
makers.
adding something too. And I think that it's like, you know, as a big now I love all types of Marvel stuff, so I like the PG rated, you know, animated stuff. I love my X-Men 97, but I also like Deadpool and Wolverine. Guess what? Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be a fantastic hard rated R movie, and that's existing under the Disney umbrella. And it doesn't mean that Disney now only caters to the rated R people while they have their PG stuff going on, or their, you know, kids entertainment. No, they could exist and have lots of it. You're gonna go watch a Disney movie this July 25th that has a lot of F words and a lot of blood and a lot of innuendos.
There's a caveat to that, Paul. There's a caveat.
And then you're gonna watch something else. So
you know, that movie is technically under Marvel, but Disney owns Marvel, so it's not like they're gonna make a Disney movie.
But you know what? I wonder if they're going to. I wonder how much are they going to mess with that stuff, because you know they're going to want to have some fourth wall breaking, and like Ryan Reynolds saying,
"Oh, of course,
he already did in the trailer."
Yeah, he did.
Oh man, even more like. I like when you wish upon, I can imagine him saying, no, cut this, bleep out, and then you know, shoot up the logo or replace the thing, and like, you know,
real quick.
I'm excited for the possibilities that they're gonna have fun with in this movie, or name drop real Marvel and Disney executives like, well, we're not supposed to mention blah blah blah. Think I give a. I mean, I'm just so excited for that one. But yeah, Nintendo could exist too. They could coexist.
Yeah.
And that's what ratings are for.
Well, there's no doubt about it. They want to expand, and this includes third-party games and for Switch 2, where we're going to be hopefully a lot of third-party, publishers come in and they bring their own games, whether they're horror games or they're, more adult games. Like Battlefield itself is a more adult game. First, I want to say a shout out to Boo Mini, who gifted 1 membership, and of course another shout out to our brand new member. Picked it up, Anthony Nelson. Thank you, Anthony, and welcome to the Odyssey. So, she just went away just when I was about to pass it to her.
She disappeared.
Yeah,
Starting to look like my screen. Maybe a paper bag is going to come on Joyce's.
I actually want to speak a little bit on what Joycey was talking about earlier.
See, I knew it.
Let me mention real quick. Right now, if you guys noticed, this trailer came really, I would say, just a couple weeks after Nintendo added a mature 17 plus to Nintendo Switch Online. I know it's for 64. Well, that opens the actual mature 17 plus genre era and on Nintendo Switch Online. So, I mean, Nintendo's thinking about
remind me to tell you exactly what I'm thinking in this moment, because I so can't say it. But I was going to say there is about to be a horror movie here, because I haven't killed my upstairs neighbor yet. But the week I've had and the pain that I'm in, I just need to take it out on somebody.
Show her the trailer and say, I know Emio, and if you don't stop, I'm going to throw Emio up there. Just show
it's a guy. It's a guy, and Joe's already said he's like, I'll go talk to him, and I'm like, no, go. Excuse me, this is family friendly. Yes, dear, please go and speak with him and
go knock the bullocks out of him.
Well, I tell you what, I ought to give you one, see? Something like that.
Yes,
as long as you leave it upstairs, it's not in your home, so
pow, straight to the moon.
You're not breaking any rules.
Pow, right in the kisser. Pow, right in the kisser. Pow, right in the kisser. Was that from Family Guy?
Yes,
No.
it was.
Yeah. It sounds like Family Guy.
What I
That got it off of the Honeymooners.
What I said was way back. Jackie Gleason and Honeymooners. I went way back.
That was from the Honeymooners. That particular bit. Yeah.
And
anyway, what were you gonna tell me, Paul? I'm sorry, I had to go scream at my neighbor. So what were you gonna tell me? I disappeared off screen.
No, I was actually about to pass it, because you said you wanted to say something.
Don't forget about something.
And then
I'm gonna tell you all that after we end the show.
Okay,
that's not that. Yeah, that comment is rated M for mature.
All right. Yeah, I was like, right after I was gonna pass it, Joe, she just walks away. Walk away. But Andre, did you want to bring something up?
Oh yeah, no, I just I wanted to kind of expand a little bit on what Joyce was talking about earlier. Like, you look at this game Emio and how it may be a little bit of Nintendo experimenting and trying to expand their audience a little bit more. And you mentioned first-person shooters. She left, but whatever. But I've actually kind of felt that maybe Nintendo's trying to do something like this with Metroid Prime 4. Because Metroid 2D is okay. Dread did pretty good, right? Best-selling Metroid game to date. Yeah. But Metroid Prime 4 is a much bigger budget game. It needs to do a lot better than Dread in order for it to be something that makes sense for Nintendo to continue to do. Yeah. And so hopefully it reaches a whole new audience. But, I've been theorizing for a while that Prime 4 is going to be a cross-gen game. And with it coming out next year, I think that bodes well. But I think it kind of is a little bit layered, right? Because we've seen the theories, and there's different reasons to think there might even be multiplayer with Prime 4, which, I know some Metroid fans might be a little bit concerned about, but as long as the single player is good, if you can integrate a multiplayer that reaches a larger audience, why not? Yeah. A lot of Metroid games already have multiplayer, so I don't think it's really that much of a stretch. So if they can find kind of like a cool multiplayer hook that's unique, and you have this game that clearly from an aesthetics perspective appeals to kind of like there are better terms, but I'm going to use this bad term, the dude bro audience, right? Like the people on Xbox who like the shooters and things of that nature. I think Nintendo has an opportunity here to start to reach a little bit more of that audience that they haven't really been hitting on for the last like couple generations. Because with the Switch 2, Prime 4 maybe an early title comes up for Switch 1 and Switch 2. It has kind of like that multiplayer they can bring to that audience. You look at the kind of people they've hired, it's the people that have been making the kind of games that people on Xbox really love, right? But I think that Prime 4 could be like Nintendo's way to spearhead that movement, but there will be other games to follow because we've heard a lot of talk about a lot of big third parties being involved with Switch 2. We have seen the deal between Microsoft and Nintendo. We're supposed to be getting Call of Duty moving forward, which is like the premier game for that audience.
Yeah.
So if they open up Switch 2 with something like Prime 4 that has something to that effect, maybe it grabs a little bit of that Halo audience. And you also have a very quality version of Call of Duty early on as well. You're starting to bring over an audience that a lot of people don't really associate with Nintendo. At least they haven't for like the last like 15 to 20 years. And now you look at this Emio thing, it's slightly different, but it does still kind of lend itself in that direction of something that's dealing with more mature themes, a little bit grittier, darker. And, you know, I kind of like what Nintendo may be going for here. You know, like it is more so about Nintendo appealing to everyone, you know, trying to just cast a wider net. And it's not so much that they're spreading themselves thin. It's more so that they're slowly sort of expanding their ability to produce more games by partnering more, getting larger studios. And we've seen a better development pipeline with Nintendo this gen than we've ever really seen for a long time. So I don't know. I think Joycey, it might be on the money there with suggesting Emio could be a part of this sort of agenda.
Emio, you have joined the podcast. What are your thoughts?
What does Emio think of that?
Exclusive interview.
Yeah.
Emio, are you a dude, bro?
Oh,
I knew it!
Breaking news! Oh
This
no,
is crazy.
He's related to the moon.
No, but now you gotta take off the mask, and it has to be an Emmy.
I knew it. The original
Or
Zone Eye.
So
Or
Lily,
Ness,
I
or
want to hear
Waluigi.
Lily's thoughts on Dr. Emio here. What are you in the horror game?
And I have a question for the whole cast when she's done.
Oh,
No rush. I'm just saying.
I wasn't for a very long time. I was scared of everything, and I couldn't go and watch horror movies, play horror video games, go to Halloween Horror Nights, or anything like that. But then I started, you know, to understand them and how they play with your mind. It's a psychological thing, basically. So I had a bit of a challenge where they wanted me to play Outlast, and that pretty much word off everything, and I really enjoy the horror feeling now. So yeah, I'm actually very excited about it. I feel like I do agree with everybody here that it's important for Nintendo to, you know, kind of branch out and start to bring those M or rated M video games that we used to have ever since, I don't know, the Nintendo 64 came out. We started to see a lot more, and then GameCube, and we were seeing that a lot. And we do have some rated M titles, but they're not specifically Nintendo, like they whatever's the case. So I really feel that that's like their doorway, or like their first step towards that. And also, let's keep in mind that everybody that grew up with Nintendo, we're no longer kids. I mean, we're grown-ups, right? Adults. So I feel like sometimes some of the titles, they are more leaning towards you know, a younger audience per se, right? So this is something that I feel that it's really going to change gears a lot and bring them more titles. And who knows, I mean, if they're preparing for the Switch 2, that means that they're going to have more games and more titles. Because one of the things that I was looking at on Twitter, you're welcome, Tracy, is that people were kind of, you know, they were kind of speculating that actually, I'm not sure where I wanted to go to with this one. I saw a bunch of tweets out there about, you know, if there is a new console out there, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good console. It needs to go out with a bunch of, you know, a great catalog for people to start buying the console. So if they do that, I really feel that's going to be a good opportunity for Nintendo. And yeah, I'm actually very excited about that. And I am concerned a bit about the subjects that we talked about at the very beginning, of course. But I don't know where Nintendo is leaning towards this, because you guys have heard of Poppy Playtime, right? My nephew adores that game, and it's a survival horror video game that kids love so bad. I have seen gameplay, and I'm always terrified of what's going to happen. So, but I mean, hopefully it's going to be
Five Nights at Freddy's. Like
I got
kids, but it's terrifying.
Exactly.
Two things to rebuttal. I got two things to rebuttal. I got two things to rebuttal on you, Lily.
Yeah.
First, I don't want to grow up. Okay, I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Toys R Us is gone.
Ever since I became a Toys R Us kid, they promised me I don't have to grow up, so I'm not gonna grow up. You know, and then number two, I forgot number two. So
hey, Mike,
it'll get back to you eventually.
I thought you had like 3 rebuttals though. What
Zach got it, I think.
Yeah,
right?
We got the first one.
Was it 3?
Hey, Mike. So see, here's my rebuttal to that. That's one of the beauties of being an adult. You get to decide when it's time to be a kid and when you got to go do adulting stuff.
Yeah, we
I never want to do adulting stuff though.
No, we don't, but we have to, because who's gonna get it done if we don't?
I don't wanna.
No, I don't want to either. I don't want to go to work. They make me work for my check. Like I have to actually do work and actually learn stuff and get licensed, and I have to do stuff. I don't know why nobody puts me on their payroll just for being fabulous.
I would love to see a movie with Joycey, a movie Joycey to have her own movie, just going through her life.
My life is so boring.
No, you're entertaining. You're entertaining.
No, I'm just loud.
I wouldn't have you on the podcast if you were, Joycey. You are entertaining.
But I'm just that's because I've been the loudest one here since.
No,
I don't know. Zach can kind of rival me a little bit, but I'm loud. I'm the loud girl.
Speaking of Zach, what are your thoughts on Emio?
Oh, I'm excited. All right, I kept a little checklist so that way I wouldn't be jumping in as much when other people were talking. To what you guys were saying about the GameCube era of the Switch, kind of entering that same era as far as creativity goes.
Yeah,
I agree. And when I was looking at those games, Andres, before you got here, we were looking at all of the Nintendo produced M-rated games, even whether they were second party or first party, as long as they were Nintendo produced. And there was 7 ever, and out of that, the first 2 were on the GameCube. No Nintendo, no Super Nintendo, no Nintendo 64.
Nice.
To go from 0 for 3 generations and then be boom, boom. That shows that you're really diversifying. And so I feel the same thing. I feel like the Switch 2 is the GameCube should have succeeded so much more than it did. And I feel like the Switch 2 gen is going to be the renaissance, so to speak, of Nintendo's creativity. What was that?
The risk taker.
Yes.
Yes.
And with Emio specifically, that trailer was cool, but also there's a chance that wasn't even game footage. They could have filmed that in a warehouse.
Oh yeah, sure.
And so
or in a guy's backyard.
Yeah, or in a guy's backyard. All of the Green Lantern scenes and Martian Manhunter scenes in just the Snyder Cut of Justice League were filmed in Zack Snyder's garage. So you never know. But we could get a gameplay trailer and it's an overhead 2D game. It could be very Undertale style. I don't think it will. I think it'll be, an Unreal Engine 4 type of first person horror. But I think it's going to be more psychological. I agree, especially you were talking about detective stuff and whatnot and solving a mystery. And as soon as I watched the trailer, I was like, this feels so familiar to me. Why does this feel familiar? And I watched it again. And I was like, this feels so familiar. And then I watched it a third time, and I was like, oh, I know what this reminds me of. And I don't know if anyone here, I feel like Lily, Andres, and Paul are the most likely 3. I'm going to say Andres, if it was any of us, though, watched Pluto on Netflix last year.
I feel like I've disappointed you. But now I know something I got to watch.
So Pluto...
Please tell me it's what I think it is.
A character arc from the Astro Boy series. But they took it and they modernized it a little bit and they made it more of a detective thriller horror type thing. And the main character,
is it an anime?
It is an anime.
Okay.
Yeah. and the main
He said Astro
character
Boy.
is Detective Gesicht. I can never. It's like a German sounding name, and then they say it in Japanese. So I'm like, I never know how to like actually say these things. That's like if you watch Attack on Titan, Bertold, they say it different every time. It'll be like Bertold. But Gesicht, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but this is obvious from the very beginning of the show. He's got some sort of like, he's trying to solve a mystery, but he's also got like some sort of memory issues. And a lot of the cuts and transitions looked super similar, like when he's having his moments of like trying to figure out what's going on and trying to solve this puzzle, but there's just some missing pieces that he can't remember. It's like the same type of like VHS looking grainy cut, static, boom, this, random close-ups on random things. And that's a repeated theme throughout the show. It happens more and more as he gets closer and closer to his memory. And I was like, man, I would love a video game of this. And so when I realized that Emio, our buddy Emilio, reminded me of that, I'm hoping that it's like a very, flashlight, go down the hallway, find this, listen to this audio recording, try and put the pieces together.
Yeah.
Because I am not a big fan of horror, but I think things need more horror in them. And, you look at, I'll use kid movies since we're talking about kid stuff. You look at like Frozen and Moana and stuff
Terrifying.
like that. And like, there's like suspense,
Nightmarish.
there's like, how's she going to stop this giant island and return the heart? There's, what's this crab going to do? But it's like, he's singing the whole time. It's not like scary, but then like you go back and you look at Lion King and you have Mufasa's whole death sequence, while his brother kills him, and see his son's face as Mufasa's dying. You don't normally see someone watch someone die in a Disney movie now, but then at the end you see the shadow of Scar getting eaten by the hyenas, like who were his buddies up until that point.
Beautiful.
And that specific
ending,
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Like that specific ending, that was their less scary ending. Originally, they were like, and then Scar's going to catch on fire and burn to death. Like, that might be too scary for children. I know. Let's have his friends eat him. And I'm like,
suitable.
I don't know how
Them hyenas wasn't loyal.
how that worked. But, you got Tarzan.
They were
and
hungry.
He's trying to stop Clayton, and Clayton's chasing him. There's the lightning, the thunder. They're in the trees, and it's
And then you see the
raining.
silhouette.
Yeah, and he's chopping
him.
away at the vines, and he accidentally gets himself instead.
I don't know. I forgot what I was saying. Go ahead.
As children, I'd say the most modern thing close to that would be Toy Story 4, which I wasn't even the biggest fan of. But they let Gabby be scary. Because there's a difference between modern horror, I feel like, is cheaper in the sense where it's easier. We want to make this scary, have something jump out. Have an arm get ripped off and have it be super gory and gratuitous and gross. But it's harder to put somebody in a dangerous situation and let that be where the horror comes from.
Remember Blair Witch Project and then eventually Paranormal Activity?
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, those are really cool. Then they became overdone and it was like, all right, well, this is garbage, right? But initially, like, because the way it was presented, you were questioning, is this like found footage, right? Is this real, right? And so it added to the immersion, right? It's interesting. Even this Emio thing might be technically like the first game that Nintendo's made like this, but do you guys remember the lead up to Pokemon Legends Arceus when they revealed Hisui and Zoroark?
Yeah.
That teaser is essentially a Blair Witch Project, but Pokemon. Yeah, like the guy essentially dies.
He dies.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was shocked that they did something like that.
I'm just asking all you guys something. Sorry, Paul. Go ahead. Because I want to ask a question, so then it'll change the focus. So go ahead.
A little parallel, kind of. I was a really big fan of Key and Peele from back in the Mad TV days. Because I used to go to the Mad TV.
Sorry.
Yeah, they're so good. because I used to go to the Mad TV tapings back in the days, and I got to meet them a few times, see some of their work in person, and they were hilarious. And then I was a huge fan of theirs when they had their own show for 5 or so successful seasons. And I was like, just give me more comedy, give me more comedy. And Keegan-Michael Key continues with mostly comedic roles, and he's hilarious. I mean, he was Toad, right? But Jordan Peele went in suspense and horror with Get Out, Us, and Nope. So I almost feel like if this is Nintendo's own Zelda, Mario, Star Fox, Donkey Kong, Emio, I want to see that same creative mind try something different.
Yes.
When people meet me, it depends on how you met me. If you met me through a martial arts tournament or a training session or a seminar that I held, you're like, this guy's punching and kicking and blocking and hitting boards and hitting people and fighting and telling people how to get away from bad situations and all that kind of stuff. And this guy wrote a children's book. And the children's book is about a little boy who has a dog, and it's taught from the dog's perspective, and it's a cute little story. And
hopefully they don't meet you in a back alley, because that's your worst side. That's the bag wearing side.
And then let's so you've got different components of quality. Now, the children's book author is not my normal profession. That was a one-off book. I do have many other stories that the creative juices started flowing as I was writing that book that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much more that I could do. But that was my one different thing. And the most of me is this martial arts exercise enthusiast and video game personality and fan who loves to talk about it, play it, and interview and go to events and all that stuff. But I think you could still diverse and break out. And I think when you're such a fan of someone and something, it is neat to see, well, what else can you do? I'm a big enough fan of, Tom Welling from his 10-year tenure in Smallville, that as much as I would love to see him pick up the cape again and, well, kind of again. In the finale, we sort of got a CG version of him. But, you know what I mean? Giving more Superman of him. I'm a big enough fan. Dude, I would watch Tom Welling in anything because I became a fan of him through that. That if he does horror, if he does something else, like he was on Lucifer, that's a cool role for him in there. So if this is Nintendo's, just kind of saying it one more time, because at this point I've already said it a couple times. Yeah, I want to see my favorite company do something crazy wild. It's kind of like when WWE went and did their WWE line of films. I like pro wrestling. I like their, wrestling. And if they're going to use some of these characters, some of these actors, and make a movie starring Kane or make a movie starring John Cena in the Marine, I like John Cena. I want to, sure. Let wrestling be his main thing. But if you're going to give John Cena the chance to break into Hollywood and give him the role of the Marine, is it going to be as successful as his wrestling tenure? No. But look what it also helped spawn off. It helped spawn off a very successful career of John. And now, thanks to perhaps some of that, John Cena is the Peacemaker. And that's a really good, Max TV series that's getting greenlit for that season 2. So you kind of see how something in the beginning, WWE films, is that ever going to work? The Marine, was it that good? Well, look what the little seed dropped. And that's something brand new. Look what giving The Rock the opportunity to be in Scorpion King kind of helped ignite. It helped ignite something totally different. And then what was that different thing? Giant superstardom for The Rock nowadays. So
would we have Dave Bautista and Guardians if that never happened with The Rock?
Yeah.
Right? So you've got to be willing to branch out in life, and maybe not everything is going to be for you, but definitely the acknowledgement that this is a smart move, definitely. You could have some parents backlash. I can't believe you put this on the system. Well, dude, the system's already got Bayonetta, it's already got Metal Gear Solid and a dozen Resident Evil games, so it's already got that. You just got to be a smart parent and smart with yourself too. And this is just from the company.
All of you have kind of danced around it, but or touched on it rather. So I want to kind of ask, how would all of you feel if Nintendo said, we're finally cutting loose and we have a section that is not for our entire audience, but our grown-up audience. Because like Lilly said, that way, we are the Nintendo fans that grew up. We're the gamers that grew up. Nintendo was basically good Lord. Nintendo was built on our back, in a way. Gaming was built on our backs, you know what I mean?
Some scar tissue here. They owe me money.
If y'all don't,
yeah,
all of you in the corner. Oh wait, Zach didn't do anything, and neither did Lilly.
But I understand your question. I don't think it's gonna affect Nintendo, but I do want to add one thing. I want to do a little rewind and then a little forward. I saw an interview, by the way, Paul, where John Cena said that the Marine did not help him land Peacemaker at all. It actually hurt him, and it's because WWE they tried going to the film industry. They quit because they were just bad at making films. The Stone Cold wasn't there. There were so many wrestlers that went into that. Even the Miz took over for the Marine. But it was just the writing was really bad. And when John auditioned to be Peacemaker, he did really well because he's a good actor. He's been doing it for years at WWE. They're all actors, by the way, guys. Sorry if I ruined that for you. And so that helped him move forward with that, and he became a really good actor. Same thing with The Rock. The Rock wanted to become an actor before he became a wrestler after being kicked out of the football team, and then he landed. His dad convinced him to go in WWE. Blah blah blah. I mean, you guys saw Young Rock. It's all there.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
Young Rock, that's fun.
Yeah, Young Rock is funny. So, and when it comes to Nintendo, let me tell you one thing. As someone who, if you guys didn't know, I'm also an actor. I can write comedy because that's something that I want. I went back to school for a little bit just to study that because I'm very passionate about acting. I've been in a whole bunch of plays here, local theater here, part of my church many times, part of big projects. It's part of my passion. So I've done comedy, I've done drama, and I've done basically just kind of skits here and there. But one thing that I learned when I was studying comedy is that a lot of comedy comes from a place of drama, from darkness, right? And so my worst fear is that a really good comedian becomes a horror filmmaker, because I think I will be extremely scared to find out what comes out of that mind. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. But like Paul said, okay, now I got my directions right. Like Paul said, Key and Peele,
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele. He is a hardcore comedian. Dude's brilliant. But when Paul was talking about their show, Key and Peele, when you look back on it, it's like it was pure comedy. Everybody laughed. But there were some really, really dark themes. Paul, do you remember delivery? Do you remember the skit that they did making fun of LMFAO way back then? They were in the club. And they were like, and the party don't stop, and they couldn't get out the club.
Don't stop, and the party don't stop. And the party don't.
Y'all go look that up later.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Like you said,
noise,
but it's funny.
Noise. I never got to go to a Key and Peele live, but that I would have loved to see them continue because they're so good and they interact with the audience. But that's just a glimpse of you've got comedic talent, but at the end of the day, it's talent, and that talent is wider than just laughs. It is drama. It is interesting situations, and
and that's why
with that you have to put the puzzle in the right piece. I don't think The Rock will be great in drama. Dave Bautista, on the other hand, he's a great actor.
Rock is going to play Mark Kerr.
Oh, he is. Well, but it's still a wrestler. It's still like when his wheelhouse. He's it's an Ultimate Fighter, and he still was in his wheelhouse, so he has to go a lot of drama, and The Rock is good at that point. But when it comes to being an overall actor, I can tell you, I will name one. Bautista is an actor. That guy's a caliber actor. I mean,
Cena, Rock.
And The Rock is the bottom. Yeah, The Rock has had really good roles, and he's been successful with that. And he's just good. But to me, a really good actor was Robin Williams. The man can make you laugh like he can make you cry.
Yep. And he had more darkness.
Exactly.
Most people realized.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And so that's where I remember that class I was taking. I was actually studying Robin Williams, and so you know what? Sometimes a lot of comedy comes from a place of darkness.
Darkness.
In somebody's life, and the more successful they are is because they're kind of hurting inside. This is their escape. Some people go back to that, right? And so when you say, "Oh, a comedian writing a horror movie," it's like, whoa, that's it's gonna be pretty dark,
From the makers of Splatoon.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, the makers of Super Mario Brothers, the happy-go-lucky plumber in the world, is making a horror film.
Wait a minute, y'all. We
And
just
that's
came up with a really good commercial. That's what we should do. That should be the commercial. From the ones who brought you Mario and The Legend of Zelda. Here comes Emio or something like it. It gets like all deep and everything.
Go through all character death animations from every Nintendo game and be that Emio is the killer of all of them. He's responsible, and that you cut
Emio's the master hand.
Yeah,
he is the master.
All right, so Zach's gonna perform the trailer right now. He's gonna go from Happy Go Lucky Self, going Mario from the makers of Mario Brothers. Yeah, go ahead.
From the makers of Super Mario World, the movie, Splatoon, Splatoon 2, and the people who brought you Pikmin, introducing Who is Emio? I don't know anything about it, so I don't know what else to say.
That's the trailer number 2.
That was really
That's
good.
all we know. That's all we know. Who is Emio? Because nobody knows who he is.
My full-time job. But no, I do think
I want Zach to narrate my life.
Important. Hey, you can. I do
I don't
think
have
it's
that kind of
important
Joycey
to
murders her
note,
neighbor.
the fact
Oh
that,
my God! Wait, Zach, you have to when you get. I'm so sorry. When you get it, when you're done, can you please
Joycey
do a movie?
J is the killer in The Upstairs Neighbor.
And she's getting 10 to 25,
Coming
depending
soon
on her
to
good
a
behavior.
Mike Odyssey podcast near you.
No, we
You
can't
just have Mike
film of
talking
it.
about Nintendo and smiling. You just have Joycey in the background. You just see her swinging a bat.
It'd actually be a really good video idea, right? Like
It
someone's
really
just
would,
doing
Mike.
a typical video and you just chime in occasionally with that awesome narration.
Yeah.
I would love it. I did for a little bit. I was doing a bad Yelp reviews that I would find. I got one that I'll try and find and share. But I would just find like the worst Yelp review I could, and I'd start off and it's like Carmine's Parkside Pizza, and it's like
My pizza had too much sauce on it, so I started a small fire in the bathroom stall.
But no, I do think it is important to bring it back a little bit. Like throughout all of human history, horror is kind of ever present in our stories because like that's what separates us from every other species on the planet is that we share stories, And like you look at like kids' nursery rhymes. Every nursery rhyme is about something super dark. You have all of these different mythologies and myths, and it's just like, oh, Zeus, what happened from Zeus's father? He ate all of them? Like, oh, and we have like paintings of this from the Renaissance and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I think context and subtlety matters because I know, Mike, you were talking about, the stuff's not normally in your wheelhouse. It's not normally in my wheelhouse too. I'm not the biggest fan. Like, I watch like the It movies, the new ones and the old ones, but I'm like, that's a superhero movie. Kids literally have to learn to not be afraid to overcome something.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole, like, that's a superhero movie. And so you've played the Batman Arkham games, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think like, because this is, we're all getting so hyped, like, oh my gosh, Emio could be this and that, and it could be crazy. And under the mask, he could actually be Emilio. But like, I think about the Arkham recordings that you had to find. I think for the Riddler challenges in the first one, and it was just these recordings from Arkham Asylum. I feel like every single theme that is part of why this game is rated M for mature were present in those recordings, but I would never view that Batman game as a horror game.
Mm-hmm.
They just leaned into parts to give life to the world that they created. And so I just got funding from a producer for my first horror film that I'm producing fully in Unreal Engine with virtual production and whatnot. Awesome. And so seeing like Emio and being able to talk about horror, like that's really exciting for me because like I'm working on that stuff myself, so like I have a vested interest, but at the same time, like I'm not making anything gratuitous. Like I love Quentin Tarantino, so you can go gratuitous all you want. That's what his movies are. But you can also do something without it being gratuitous, and you can make something scary because this character I care about is in danger because the evil stepmom's about to find her, you know?
Yeah.
Matilda.
So, yeah, I am. Yes, Matilda. Oh my gosh, Miss what's her name with the cake?
Trunchbull.
Yeah, Miss Trunchbull. Terrifying.
Listen to this. Look.
And that's a wholesome, sweet movie.
Exactly. The problem. That's all I gotta say about.
The problem is that, sadly, and I'll say this sadly, this is within my wheelhouse. I say it sadly. I wrote this script. For the video for Emio. Okay, I'm gonna read only a paragraph. The character known as this is just a paragraph, but I need some music to go behind it, right? So let me go ahead and put the music on there. Back to the Odyssey. Today, we delve into the enigma that has taken the gaming world by storm. That's just part of the video that I made, but
Cool.
It says the character known only as Emio is an unsettling figure, a person with a paper bag over their head, the face obscured by a cutout smiling jack-o'-lantern. The cutout is not just a simple smile, but a grin that sends chills down your spine. A grin that seems to know something. A grin that seems to know something we don't. The eyes, two hollow circles, stares back at us, devoted of emotion yet full of mystery. The character stands still, almost lifeless. Yet there's an airy sense of anticipation, as if waiting for the right moment to reveal its secrets. Imagine that with horror music behind it, and then it goes even deeper, and it goes even scarier into the thing. So basically, I wanted to make a video describing that game, and I couldn't do it without actually going into it and matching its life, right?
Eeriness.
Exactly. Like I can say, "Hey guys, welcome back to the Odyssey. You know, we're happy here." So nice.
But here's the thing about like life in general. It sucks, but
yeah,
those things do happen.
Yeah.
In real life. And like you said earlier, Mike, you know, I think we all have a story, if not one of those on the list, sometimes all of those.
There's
right?
a book in my bookcase somewhere.
There's a book here, somewhere.
You said we all got a story. I got books.
We do.
Go sit in the corner, Andres. So what I'm saying is that something that can be that's relative is fear.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit that domestic violence one I was like, Nintendo, what is y'all doing? Y'all ain't just got creepy dead hand just running around scaring people or anything? No, I guess we're not doing that. So that did hit a little different, but that's why it's not for me. But and I hate that that's the world that we live in when those kind of stories are a little too common. Yeah. But that's kind of the good thing about entertainment. It's don't take it too seriously.
Yeah. It's what it is. It's entertainment. Yeah.
As a spiritual person, people, you know, I have been asked this, you know, well, doesn't Bayonetta like bother you? And I'm like, no, because the game is totally unserious. It's so unserious. The story barely makes sense. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, but when it comes to like those horror games, there's an air of seriousness to them. So that's the other thing that I'm kind of like, but still good move, Nintendo. I hope you guys are making it. And I really hope there is a mature section in Nintendo where there's just a bunch of devs that are just making different types of games for different types of gamers.
Yeah. And speaking of different types of games for different types of gamers, do you think it's a good time to segue?
I just want to ask Joyce a question.
Go ahead.
How do you feel about the Demon King?
And
Ganny?
Yeah.
Ganny?
I mean, he's the Demon King. He's basically like the devil.
Don't look away, for you
Sort of.
witness a
He's not-
king's revival and the birth of his new empire.
I gotta get used to that. I'm not ready for you to do just utter these epic lines.
I feel like I should be paying Zach for that. That's how good it is. Yeah, dude, come narrate my boring life. Joycey works in insurance. Anyway, to answer your question, how do I feel about Ganon? Here's the thing. Nintendo villains, as we've grown up on Zelda, there's so much I think that we add to it that's not necessarily there. Ganon, I don't take him very seriously because we've only spent a total of 30 minutes with him over how many games now?
Yeah.
Depends how many times you die.
He's mostly dehydrated.
And then on top of that, I look at it as Ganon's not really meant to be scary. He's meant to be that
intimidating.
Yeah, intimidating. Bowser. He's that villain you love to hate. No, he's not even like Bowser, because Bowser
is a heartfelt guy, like happy-go-lucky guy.
You're not going to team up with Ganondorf.
No,
Ganon. No.
Remember when Bowser and Ganondorf teamed up in Brawl? That was so cool.
Right.
But here's the thing, though, with Bowser and Mario are kind of low-key frenemies. They don't really hate each other. They just kind of are fighting over the same girl.
They're not trying to murder each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ganon actually wants to murder everybody. Seriously. Yeah. But the way Nintendo does it, it's more like, really, Ganon, we're going to do this again. You really want to die again? Okay, well, your hair's fierce, though. Okay, here's my sword. I don't take it as seriously. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it, right? And I thinking more on it, why Zelda has more a serious tone, right?
A serious tone.
It doesn't give you. I know the feeling you're talking about, right? So going back to things I watch, right? I've been watching the series called Evil, right? And it's about a priest, and he has an agnostic friend she's a therapist, and he has an atheist friend that's like a tech wizard. And they go to different situations where there's speculated demonic possession, and they're trying to disprove it or prove it, right? And so it's a fun show, but there are times where, if you're watching it at night, you start to you look to left or the right, there's a little bit of that concern, right?
I always feel like
I used to be terrified of Kramer from Seinfeld when I was a kid. I don't know if that's the same thing, but
Kramer's
but think about it but Andres, let me throw this back at you. And
you're never going to be scared of Ganondorf. You're not going to be, you're not thinking Ganondorf is going to come in your room and kill you or possess you, right?
Probably. I agree with you. Hopefully. No, I agree with you. But but think about it like this: since we have a live action movie coming. Y'all cracking me up tonight. Since we have a live action movie coming, I thought about different things, and this is one of the reasons I think that it would be better if Link and Zelda are older characters, late teens, early 20s, something like that. Because if you think about the end of Wind Waker, which you talked about earlier, he stabs Ganon right here with a sword, and it's epic and it's great. It's one of the best Ganon fights in all of Zelda. But put that in realistic live with actual actors on a big screen. There's something disturbing about a very small child stabbing the absolute crap out of the
in Game of Thrones. The girl who plays Elle in The Last of Us, she was in there, and a giant had her, and she was like, yeah. Or in the words of Link, she was like,
yeah. And I don't care what anybody says. I truly believe that was a ripoff of Wind Waker, But anyway, but the point is, but
I agree though.
Is not family friendly either.
No, yeah, I mean, I think it would be a weird disconnect if they go. I'm not saying that they can't have a young Link for flashbacks or whatever, but I think it'd be weird to not use an adult Link because when you see that sword fight, it ain't gonna feel right.
Yeah.
But Wind Waker, it feels great, right? And
but that's animated.
A cute little thing. Yeah.
It works in that scenario, right? It's one of the cool things. When you watch anime, I would say fight scenes in anime is probably the best place to watch fights because they can do a lot of crazy shit that you could just never really do anywhere else.
Gohan facing off against Cell.
Right, like you're not going to see. You're not going to see that in a live action movie. That's just not going to. Not going to make any
Stephanie
sense.
is the best.
Take one of the actors from Stranger Things at season 1 when they were like 13 and have them face off against Black Adam. And you just see it doesn't work that well. Not that they couldn't, but to feel that really big impact, I think that adult Link, quote unquote, 17-year-old-ish, is probably the right way to go for most of the film. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But man,
We gotta. I'm sorry,
GameCube out of nowhere. I'm just thinking of the GameCube.
Yeah,
What do you think about that, Mike?
That was
I so want to talk about that.
segue. That was a segue from back when. Anyway,
But look at all the conversation that we just had based off of a 11-second trailer. So Nintendo needs to take that kind of stuff.
I'm telling you, and I didn't want to interrupt in any point at all, but we can take a couple minutes just to go ahead and go over this little topic because it is a big topic. We got I'm going to call it a leak just yet. Basically like a rumor. It was discovered on Family Watch. Am I correct, Andres?
I don't know what we're talking about yet. So
we're talking about the possibility of a Cube console coming to NSO.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it. I don't. The thing about
it's not a rumor. It's not a leak.
Here's the thing. Like, it's great putting leak in your title because people are going to click on it.
Obviously, yeah.
But a leak would mean something that got out inadvertently. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this, what we're talking about is manufacturing information, which is it's public info. That's not something that got out. Like that's just it's not something like we don't even technically know what it is, right? We can extrapolate. Yeah, we can extrapolate what it might mean. It's not a leak. A leak would be there's different kinds of leaks, right? But like a leak would be like when we got the picture of like the Tears of the Kingdom OLED, or like anything that came out of Midori's mouth before he was shut down, right? Like, like those things were leaks because those are things that Nintendo or other companies didn't want out there that got out there.
Yeah.
So, and then a rumor is, I don't know,
it's just a
less confident leak.
No, it's not even a less confident leak. But
I
anyway,
predict we will get more Zelda games in the future.
Yeah, so that's
a rumor.
Yeah. So just to recap, basically, it was said in this particular little sentence there that basically they discovered some code numbers or code names similar to the previous controllers shipped for NSO. That means the NES controller, the Super Nintendo controller, the 64 controller, and the Genesis controller. They all had similar codes, I think QR codes or code names related to, I'm just paraphrasing, to what they recently discovered, which was a controller for Gamecube with that similar code, whatever thingy there, right? And so from there, it actually spawned the speculation that there could be Gamecube coming to NSO. Now, I want to give you my personal opinion about this, and then I'll take it out to you guys so you guys can give your 2 cents as well. I've been saying it for a long time. I'm in the believer mark just because I've gone over some patents related to GameCube and to NSO. I've also seen some trademarks related to GameCube and also, basically, and I'm like, okay, so we put them together. I released a video with some links and some other information that I researched that kind of helps tell that story. And I'm like, okay, if it's a similar code, if it's similar, then why not? I mean, people say, wait, Nintendo's only porting games. Well, not necessarily. There are over 800 games on GameCube that could very well live happily on NSO. I don't think Nintendo's ever going to reach a Smash Melee HD because Smash Bros. Ultimate is just an amazing game. I don't think
it could happen.
Yeah, Animal Crossing New Horizon is there in the peak of that game. I don't think Animal Crossing, the first one, is going to get an HD version. So for those games that Nintendo will not port over, they will eventually bring them to NSO, and that only increases the value of NSO, right? And I happen to come across again Nintendo DS as well, but I realized that could be for Switch too, just because the other patent they had discovered paints the dock as an entertainment hub. You can stream too, so you can actually use your
phone,
your screen, not the phone, but the actual Nintendo screen, the Switch, and stream it as long as you're at. Xbox did it with their PlayStation Portal. So basically, that same technology, as long as you are kind of close to the dock.
Xbox did it with their PlayStation.
I was trying not to say anything.
I said Xbox with the PlayStation Portal. Anyway,
I do know what you mean, though.
That's a leak.
Xbox did do it before
merger.
Don't clip it.
Streaming. So
nobody clipped that. That didn't exist. Okay,
you still are correct, because before the PlayStation Portal, you used to be able to, and before you could do Game Pass on your computer, you could stream your Xbox to your computer if they were on the same Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
remote play.
Remote play. Yeah. So
you're not wrong.
So basically, what we're talking about here is that you can actually stream your game from your Switch onto your dock, and that way Nintendo can open up NSO because you'll have that additional screen to use on your portable screen for NSO. That's basically that speculation that I have about that. But about the GameCube coming to NSO. It's just a matter of time. Just like I think, just like Nintendo Wii will eventually make it. Just like Wii U in 10 years from now will eventually make it. Nintendo's building up little by little their catalog, right? Their games, and I don't know whether it's coming for Switch or for Switch 2 or for Switch 3, but it's coming. And that's basically, And go ahead. I just follow common sense. It's gonna make it to the NSO at one point.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I saw the trademark things that, you pointed them out months ago.
Yeah.
Right? But when you factor that in conjunction with these, I guess I don't know if you want it, what do you call them? The shipment information, right? There's multiple components that have a code for LDAL, which seems to be hinting at a classic GameCube style thing they're putting together, but a new one. And so, I try to consider alternatives, right? Like, what if, similar to Smash Brothers, they're just making a new GameCube controller for maybe, I don't know, F-Zero GX Remastered, which might need the analog triggers. Like, that's a potential alternate option, which would be pretty cool. Or maybe we're getting close to the next Smash Brothers, and they're going to release a new GameCube controller for that reason. Yeah. Like, that's just me throwing out other alternative ideas. But regardless, like, we go back to Nintendo Wii, right? Like, console launched in 2006 and they had the virtual console.
Yeah.
They've been doing basically the same platforms since 2006 for their retro catalog. They haven't moved up, and it's been almost 2 decades, since the beginning of that trend. At some point you would think that they're going to have to expand on that, right?
Yeah.
Now, the tricky part, though, is that, as you mentioned, GameCube, alongside Wii and 3DS, are kind of like a treasure trove for Nintendo right now for remakes and remasters. There's a lot of money to be had there. So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I do think it makes sense. I do think the information we have right now is kind of compelling, but also timing. Like, when does it happen, right? Because just because we're seeing this stuff doesn't mean it's happening soon. And also, it could technically be something else, or it could just be like, maybe they're thinking about it, getting something ready, but we may not, timing, right? Or, as you also mentioned, maybe it's something being safe for Switch 2 to have, especially if, like, there's already going to be backwards compatibility and some cross-gen titles. They may want to find other ways to kind of, sort of entice people to transition over. And if there's a better version of Switch Online that has different options, like maybe GameCube or even Wii NSO, then people will be like, oh, snap, I can play like Star Fox Assault or Smash Bros. Melee online. That would be crazy, but you can only do it on Switch 2.
Joy-Cons.
What if
GameCube Joy-Cons?
Yeah, or at least just have analog triggers.
What if this is another way for them to, because the shipping information is there, right? That means that the product exists. It's there. Yeah. What if this is a way for them to push consoles for the holiday season? What if they do add GameCube to NSO and present that GameCube controller as a way to push new Switch consoles? to NSO.
I'm steering because I disagree.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm
No,
saying
sure, you're spitballing. I guess the reason. What?
No, I also found a patent, by the way, with a Nintendo. We covered it in the last podcast. A Nintendo DS. It's 20 years now since the Nintendo DS finally came out. Our anniversary, I think, is in November, right, Paul? November. It's an anniversary for is Paul around or the
DS is 20th anniversary.
He's just cleaning up his
November.
I think his the Emio took over.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what if Nintendo brings, how these consoles live side by side, which, by the way, the question why Nintendo GameCube didn't sell as much, Nintendo DS. That's the game that really took over and still is the best-selling game until Nintendo Switch overthrows it. What if Nintendo does bring the GameCube to NSO and then releases a Nintendo DS Classic with pre-installed games for the holidays?
That's what I want.
Zach and I were just talking about this the other day. If Nintendo releases a DS Classic, would it be able to be lumped into the sales of DS? And that kind of depends on how do they promote it.
Do they count SNES Classic for Super Nintendo sales?
SNES and NES don't, because they are locked into what games they have and you cannot purchase software for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if DS Classic has like 20 games, that's it, then I don't think so. But if all of a sudden you could download games or more so have cartridge slot or some kind of download but micro SD card, then that's another version of the DS that just happens to come out quite some years later than the DSi. It's a very intriguing possibility. Like, not only did we beat PS2, but we beat them with two systems back to back. And we were touching a little bit of that on the podcast, but Zach and I continued to have that. Like, that would be another DS system.
And it'll be really cool if they can stream to the Switch 2 dock, so you can play it on the TV.
One of our thoughts.
That will actually push sales like crazy for
really
Nintendo
cool
Switch.
I still think within the next 10 years, I know it's a long time, but you can bookmark this and go back. There will be some sort of Nintendo Switch edition phone or Nintendo edition phone, Android phone within the next 10 years.
I've been thinking about that for like the last 10 years.
Yeah. I think you have to wait 10 years more for that.
Actually, I've been thinking about it for longer, ever since like 2006. Like, was it 2006? No, actually, even before that, I was thinking, because Nintendo DS came out in 2004, right? The holiday 2004, and it was interesting because Nintendo they made touchscreens more approachable. They kind of popularized it a bit. Shortly before the launch of the iPhone. So in a way, kind of Nintendo spearheaded the touchscreen era. They existed like, Blackberries and stuff like that. But Nintendo used it in a way that people didn't expect, and that went viral. And then the iPhone came out, and then that started doing touchscreen stuff. And Nintendo's kind of had like a similar philosophy to iPhone over the years. And so I've been sort of thinking, since around that period of time, what if Nintendo made a smartphone like Nintendo iPhone or something like that? I don't know. I've had the same
plug it into your TV. You just plug the whole phone into your TV.
I mean,
it's
iPhone's already connected to your TV,
Android device.
Exactly.
And now we're getting the foldables, so you can do DS type stuff and have two screens. And I think you're going to have multi-screen capabilities with this new Nintendo system moving forward.
It's funny because here's Andre saying, 10 years ago I was thinking about this, and then here's Zach saying, this is coming in the next 10 years. That's like 20 years already. But I'm going back 10 years. Nintendo Life actually published an article saying the Nintendo phone almost happened a decade ago. 10 years ago. It says ex-Danger employee reveals how Game Boy games nearly came to mobile. And it was like a Nintendo phone. They were going to partner with the Sidekick from Nokia Sidekick, right? And so they were going to make a Nintendo phone at that point and bring Nintendo games 10 years ago. So Andre, you were connected
I have a
And see,
question.
I almost brought this up earlier because it is a little related to what we were talking about Nintendo doing new things. You have Sony and Microsoft. Sony is a technology company first who got into video games because of Nintendo, because Nintendo was like, hey, let's make a system together. Never mind. And then they're like, oh, well, we have this tech, we might as well use it. Where Microsoft
What do we do with it?
is operating system company and a computer company first and foremost. Nintendo is the only one of the big three who is a game company first, most, and only up until recently.
Yeah.
You look at when the Xbox One launched and they tried to make it an everything machine. They were like, you can DVR your stuff, there's 2 HDMI ports in that thing. They're like, you can DVR, picture in picture, you can tell it to switch channels or switch to your game. And it was too much. It was a media hub trying to be a game machine. And then you have the PlayStation, who's kind of perfected a little more. They're like, hey, this is a gaming machine, but you can do other stuff. And so now you got Nintendo, who's like, we just do game stuff, but all of this is way more accessible now. Our main system is literally running on Android tech. The Nintendo phone is coming. You heard it from Andre 10 years ago, and you heard it from me now.
Nintendo.
I kept it to myself. You can take credit for it.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't think that they would move GameCube to NSO. I guess my thing is, I feel like there's a lot of games on GameCube that they could remaster and repackage and totally resell to us.
Yep.
Is that not okay?
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing. But the thing is that, let me look up exactly how many games on GameCube. How many games?
I think it was 800, wasn't it?
11.
No.
Yeah, there was 800 something.
11.
It's actually
That's how many I played.
Yeah.
621.
701 games.
Maybe that's why we didn't see Luigi's Mansion 1, because they're just going to add it with NSO. Maybe that's why we're not getting Wind Waker.
Yeah, because we were discussing this a few podcasts ago where we were thinking about games that could potentially be remade using newer engines. And Luigi's Mansion 1 for the GameCube was, kind of there in the horizon, but yeah.
Give me
that would make a lot of money too.
In the US, there are 701 games. In Japan, there are 651 games for GameCube. And so they were games that were still made after GameCube, like from developers. And so the total number is 800, but the official number from Nintendo is 701. But they can't remake in HD every single game on GameCube. Where there's a lot of games out there that make more sense on NSO to boost the platform, to enhance the platform, to give that platform more value than to remake the game, for a $50 one-time fee, rather than just giving somebody, that NSO value. So I do think, they're gonna take games and bring them to they're doing it already, right? Metroid Prime, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD was from 3DS, but they're doing it already. Taking these games, and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door was from GameCube, right?
Pikmin 1 and 2, Super Mario Sunshine.
And
there's some
Mario
third-party
Sunshine
stuff like Tales of Symphonia, Bat and Kaitos.
But Mario Sunshine was a temporary thing, which at this moment it doesn't exist. So that game could actually be a great game for NSO.
Probably a launch day title.
Exactly.
But even with Link's Awakening, for example, Link's Awakening is available for you to play the Link's Awakening DX over there, but you have it already, and it's there. So
yeah, you're right. And people love the classic, and they love the new one. So there's no really thing there. It'll just add more value, and I think it's gonna make it whether in this one or for Switch 2. And with all of the stuff that's coming up lately, people are jumping on board. Yeah, we might see GameCube coming up. Maybe we see it sooner than later. There's no real reason other than having to sell more Switch 2s, not to bring GameCube to Switch, because Switch can handle it like nothing, right? It can handle it. It'll take
thing about it is, but real quick, I just want to say that Lily is over here. Like she was talking about Link's Awakening, though, but I think one of the reasons that now I'm confused that it did so well is because it was completely remade. It looked completely
it's not a
different.
remaster.
It's a very delightful remake. You know what I mean? But you can still have the old school one, which is also a good one. So my thing with GameCube games is that I'm like, how much? I mean, okay, a couple of them need a little help. Okay, but I feel like they would just remaster those and then just sell them to us because it's at that perfect time. You know what I mean? And in 10 years from now, when Switch 3 or whatever the heck it is comes out, then they're going to start repackaging and selling us Wii games, remastered Wii games. You see what I mean? I feel like that's what they're going to do because NES and SNES seem like it was a given. And 64 seems like it was a given as well because those are the late 1900s. You know what I mean? So that's why that's the only hesitation I would say.
I hear kids at my church say the Wii was my first system.
So, oh my god!
A lot of people have nostalgia for the Wii.
Well, I am the oldest person here.
You also have to be careful. I mean, even though GameCube could handle running that, is it going to be too taxing on it? Because unlike the Super NES, N64, NES games that take up very little file sizes, here you're dealing with 1.5 gigs per title. Do you have 12 different games that are now taking up 18 gigs of your storage space because you're downloading them to the system? Or are they playing off the fly via cloud? Or is it some other kind of combination of a digital streaming of the game?
It's a new cloud. It's a new cloud system now that they worked on. Stadia perfected it. It's where part of the game is downloaded to your system, and then part of the game is stored on the server, and then the save data is stored also on your system, not the entire game. Because right now PlayStation does they do it, and also Xbox. They do. I can actually play all my Xbox phones right here on my phone. They play flawlessly. They literally play great, you know. And so they already do it. I think at this point, when cloud gaming first came out, it had its questioning and all the glitches in this. But right now, I think that we've come a long way since then. Thanks to Google with Stadia, because the whole purpose of Stadia was to sell the technology. It wasn't for the actual Stadia thing. Yeah, they sold the technology like crazy. And if you do some research, you'll see that there's a lot of companies now using Stadia's technology. Even Amazon uses it for their platforms as well. So it's good. It works today. So for GameCube to be a streaming thing rather than on server, on system, I think it works.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, I'll say that
more games. I'm excited.
I just want another opportunity to hold a GameCube controller in my hand.
Yeah. But you still want to be able to play it with a normal Switch controller, right?
Yeah,
so analog triggers were kind of a big deal for GameCube. There's a lot of games that are kind of built around it, and yes, there are ways to kind of make it work without it, but it's not as elegant. So, especially like Mario's Sunshine, you can kind of get away with it, and they did by just using the extra shoulder buttons for the other function of the FLUDD. But you look at things like F-Zero GX, where there's like varying levels of drifting there, or like in Melee, there's varying degrees to the shield button. These kind of things, like you would need analog triggers for them to play really well. So hopefully, maybe on Switch 2, there's already analog triggers, and they can still have the GameCube controller that's compatible with that if you want to play it in that way. But that way, out of the box, you can play these GameCube games as they were intended to be played. So when you factor that on top of memory constraints, as Paul brought up, there are some issues in terms of like just running the games. No, they're GameCube games. Like it should be fine. It's just the other things that make me think it's probably not coming to Switch. Plus, as we discussed like several times, there's a lot of games they can just use to make money now as remasters or remakes. So I feel like we have to wait longer, or at least for Switch 2. So there's some level of separation there.
And there's always expandable storage, and Switch has it. Maybe Nintendo can say for Switch you need to have expandable storage. Just for some games, you would have to have it. I know when Battlefield, I keep coming back. Call of Duty comes to Nintendo Switch, and and just like they said, it's not gonna be like a watered down version. It's gonna be the exact same version they release on other consoles on Switch too. That's like what 80 gigabytes, 100 and some gigabytes for one game. You know, it's crazy. So obviously, people are gonna have it unless Nintendo releases the 1 terabyte console like PlayStation and Xbox. You're gonna have to get that extra storage. So you know,
For sure.
this is a good question here. This is from Sergi. Would it be disappointing if Switch 2 gonna have a way too much similarities with Switch 1?
Oh, I answered that in the chat already.
All right, we're gonna ask.
It was funny, actually, his answer.
It's the same answer I've given every week.
It's so hilarious.
To give it an answer, I mean, I'm gonna highlight your answer as well. Switch 1 and Switch 2 are gonna be about the same when it comes to the form factor. They're both gonna have screens, dockable hybrid systems with removable Joy-Cons. The difference is the screen, the difference is the power that it has, and maybe improved Joy-Cons. But they're going to be similar. I think that was already confirmed. That's why they call it Switch 2 behind the scenes, because it's another Switch. It's just more powerful. Where is your answer?
The Nintendo Snap. That's what we named it last week.
Yeah,
double fingers.
Nintendo Snap is in my brain. I think that's going to be the name too. I don't think it's going to be another name.
I like that, actually. I think that would work. But honestly, just to keep it safe, okay, Switch 2 and TOO, and leave it, and then it's like two eyes. Yeah, we've talked about that too. I think that would be safe and creative, so everybody's happy.
Tina Baby says, just popping in, when GameCube coming to Switch this year or next year? I'm going to say with Switch 2.
I'm gonna say Switch 2, whether it's remaster or NSO, regardless. That's what.
Whatever they do, I feel like if they keep NSO, I feel like if they have been building up for that, then Switch 2 will definitely something that will build up. Because I agree with you, Mike, in terms of like I rather, you know, in a business perspective, it's better to have people subscribe to a service rather than buy in and buying the same game. But it's gonna get there, not yet, but it's gonna get there eventually.
Yeah, that's why Netflix is so well. The Netflix is losing now. For bad example.
Bad example, but yeah, you get.
Yeah. Anybody else want to jump in?
How much?
How much?
No, I agree.
20 bucks.
Huh?
We got. I'm not sure. Is this a question? Thought we still got proper holiday lineup, but with the Switch 2, dawn imminent. It's all very exciting. I just want to hear a bit more on Legacy after that early 2025.
So he's probably talking about the code name Legacy game that's being made by Monolith Soft.
Okay, yeah.
So what's cool about it is if you look at the Monolith Soft like code names, that doesn't sound like a Xenoblade game.
Okay.
Yeah, the Xenoblade games are like, I forget the exact thing. It's like little people, big people, something like that.
That's the code name.
Yeah, well, yeah. So this is. It seems to be something else, which is cool stuff. Maybe that new IP they've been hiring for since 2017. I
remember that
artwork. Yeah,
that one image they showed was awesome, dude.
And the thing is, Microsoft is a really incredible studio, right? Like this is like Nintendo's like best support studio. This Microsoft works on Splatoon, Animal Crossing, Zelda, and they make Xenoblade games that are massive RPGs every year or two. Like they keep pumping out these games. So, but the thing is, Xenoblade is a Japanese RPG, which does not appeal to a large audience. So even though they make amazing games, a lot of people don't appreciate them.
Yeah.
But what happens if Monolith Soft decides to make something that appeals? Like it's still going to be really cool. Probably still something very core centric. Like probably still like a really big, massive adventure. Maybe even still some RPG mechanics. But what if it's tweaked a little bit? So all of a sudden, it's not really looked at as just like a basic JRPG, and it's kind of like people are like, oh, whoa. Oh, I gotta play this, you know? Like, what if it's more like a fantasy action, like co-op adventure, you know? And you can play it online with your friends in a massive world, and it has just some RPG elements tied in. People would go wild for that.
Yeah, we got Country God Gamer saying Nintendo trying to hype up with a new horror game that nobody knows or can pique people's interest. I think new horror game will be a flop.
Wait, I answered that one in the chat, and I was like, we spent like over an hour talking about it. So, and I don't know about you guys, but Mike and I already said we're not into it. We're not going to buy it, but we see what Nintendo's doing.
Yeah.
So
500,000 views in 2 days for
the only thing is that I don't think it's going to be a flop. I think
it's not going to be. I don't think it'll.
Yeah,
be
I think it's gonna be a top seller. One of the
I don't
top
know about 1 million though. I will say that, but I think it'll be enough for Nintendo to say, okay, we might be able to work with something here.
Yeah,
Nintendo has, it just depends on the budget. It's probably not a big budget game, so
that's true.
A million sales used to be like the big thing for Nintendo to reach back in like the SNES and N64 games. Oh man, I hope it does 1 million. 3 million is like the new million.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Switch.
pretty much.
I hope Metroid Dread does 3 million, whereas back in the Prime days, oh man, I hope this Metroid game does 1 million. And then for the bigger games, like Nintendo's just really elevated it. Oh, it would be great if this Donkey Kong clears 5. Now it's I hope Kirby can make 10. Everything's just up. It's just such a powerful system. Yeah.
I see Dread numbers, Metroid Dread numbers going up when we start getting more and more for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I see people, especially if it has to be backwards compatible. If Switch 2 is backwards compatible, I could totally see people saying, oh my gosh, okay, so what's this new game? I've never seen this before. What's Metroid? There's other Metroid games?
I hope they say, to capitalize what you're saying, if you have a saved file of Metroid Dread or Metroid Prime Remastered on your Nintendo Switch, then when you play Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, you unlock that game's costume in Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. So you get to play as a Dread costume in it as a skin, or you get something cool from Prime in the skin. Nothing too, crazy that changes the story, gameplay, nothing like that, but just an extra perk. And that's just a relatively easy way how to capitalize on some, more sales and get more people to buy your earlier software. It's a cool thing.
100% unrelated. And this is the last thing I'll probably say today. But Lilly brought up the Nintendo World Championships thing earlier, and then Paul was talking about 2015. Yeah. So I always like to have the fun trinkets. This is in a... Wait, this is blank. Wrong one. This is one of the official judges' scorecards from the event when they were keeping track of everybody's scores and how they did and whatnot. And so yeah, that is one of my favorite things. And then
I thought that was how you call.
He's still talking.
Yeah.
That was one of my favoriits. And then
I thought that was like how you kept track of your Pokemon.
Yes, that's a good way to keep track. I am truly sorry, but I need to head out. It has been a very long week for me, and go ahead with
that and put this in your channel, because basically I think we're done right now. So go ahead.
Well, thank you. Well, you can find me on YouTube as Lilly Hyrule. Thank you very much for being here, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Good night, Lily.
You too.
But
good
yeah,
night, Lily.
Good night. Take care.
All right, and with that, is this the music?
Wait, Zach, want to show us something real quick.
Oh, no,
Zach, want to show us something real quick.
It's all good. It's all good.
The big Nintendo news this week. Maybe Joycey was going to say, I don't know, maybe Joycey has something even better. But this week, the Nintendo Switch finally did what I was hoping it would, and that is go 2,687 days plus without a successor coming out, dethroning Famicom's record, and the only console to stand in its way till it becomes number one is the Xbox 360, which lasted 2,922 days. So I personally hope Nintendo Switch 2 comes out March 4th or after, so it could become the number one longest lasting home console ever before a successor comes out.
Nice. I mean, I can see that happening. I also see the Switch 2 being a longer life console, just because of third-party support and how AI upscaling will actually play a big part in the longevity of the system. So I think, Switch is here. I think we'll have like a 9th year Switch 2 generation. We'll be like all old people in this podcast by the time we get the Switch 3.
I don't know. Right. I'm part of the way there.
Yeah, well, you're not.
I'm the oldest one on the cast.
Joyce, what was your big news or cool news?
Oh, Splatfest starts tonight. The teams are Team Beach, Team Theme Park, and Team Palace.
Nice.
Team Theme Park is the correct answer.
All right, Josie. So what do you got going on? And what can we find you?
I am DJ Joycey on Twitter. I do not have a YouTube channel because my nerves are bad the older I get. I am just a crazy old lady who loves video games, but you can catch me here every single Friday on Nintopics.
Noise. And take it away, Andre, restart.
What do you want me to take away?
Yeah, take it away. Just
your hat,
shirt, what can we find you? What can we find your muscles?
Paul's bag. In the future, because I still got a lot of.
Aren't you supposed to be in the corner?
I was in the corner mentally.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Just making Nintendo stuff.
And he's good at it.
The Andre's restart. One of the best. I think one of the best theorists out there when it comes to games. You find Metroid, a lot of Metroid games, right, Andre?
Oh yeah. Also, Ocarina of Time remake is real.
Yeah, it's real. It's coming.
That's the theory.
Maybe.
I'm very confident in it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I
mean, it is. It is like the most popular Zelda franchise, so I'm guessing it's not too far fetched. Zelda. I was like Zelda. Zach Hendricks. Where can we find you, bud?
You can find me on X, Twitter, or whatever the kids are calling it nowadays, at YoungCalfZach, and everywhere else at Zach Hendricks Voiceover or Zach Hendricks Media. Searching either one will bring up all of them. And yeah, I'm here every Friday night, and then I've been meaning to stream Smash Ultimate as an after party right after these end. However, I keep getting last minute gigs, so tomorrow I am acting in something, so I will not be able to be up too late tonight. But next week, hopefully, after the Mike Odyssey show, or after the Nintopics podcast, Smash Ultimate.
What if we don't know how to play Smash, but we do own the game?
Hey, you can join.
Play. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And
I know like one move.
One move.
Press A.
What?
We push all the buttons.
Press A in different directions. You'll do a lot more.
Can I map it to Bayonetta controls? Because then I'll own everybody. No, I'm kidding.
And now take it away, Paul Gilnera. What you got going on?
Bayonetta, you might figure some things out.
Well, it's been a big week. I announced in the early hours of the morning my crossover with Nintendo and Emio.
I thought that was a real trailer at first, by the way.
What's that?
That's Emilio, by the way.
Emilio.
I might be the world's first Emio
cosplayer.
That was the first Emio fan film.
That's the first Emio fan film. That's pretty dope. And also, like I mentioned at the very beginning of the podcast, but we kind of had to run out of time. Maybe. Depends on Mike. I mean, we might go another half hour, but I just dropped it in the chat. 4 years ago, I created the world's first Super Mario Brothers pool. And this summer, I'm doing the world's first Legend of Zelda themed pool. So if you want to get a sneak peek of what it looks like, it's just right there at the end of the chat. And it's looking pretty sweet, I think. And then again, I'm biased, but it's like a big 512 mosaic project. And that took a good several hours to put together just right. But yeah, that's what I've got going on. And
cool.
Where to find me at Polygon Network on YouTube and Twitter/X. Eventually, I realize kind of like, I still say WWF, but it's slowly becoming easier to say WWE.
Yeah.
I still say Twitter/X, but eventually, especially as an educator, you realize time keeps going on. And when you say old things, the newer audience has zero connection to those old things. WWF has been WWE for 20 years. Yeah. You're talking to 20-year-old university students and you say WWF, they have zero clue. So eventually saying Twitter 5 years from now, 10-year-olds that are now 15 listening to you are like, what's Twitter? You mean X? Why do you keep saying that? 10 years from now, they're going to say, why are you saying Twitter? It's X. So I am working on being less stubborn and eventually just saying X, but I'm still in that phase.
Yeah.
Twitter. Anyways, that's a long tangent on life and growing up and being mature, but that's where you can find me on those platforms.
Keep calling it WWF, Paul.
I came
Keep calling it WWF.
And my
friend, always will.
Thank you for coming back to dance with us.
I have a special announcement at the end of this podcast. I'm glad for all of you here. We have 97 watchers right now, so thank you all. And we got right here. The before I say anything, yes, this guy was created with AI. Okay, this is Furukawa right here. Talk Furukawa. But I used Photoshop's new feature. All right, Photoshop doesn't capture anything from any other source, so you guys don't have to be mad about that art. I've gotten a lot of people, you use AI, that's stealing. I mean, that's not stealing. I'm using Photoshop's AI version of AI that actually has their own library of images they can pull from to create a different one. So
you do use a photo shoot to the Furukawa?
Yeah, I said just email Japanese executive saying shh with glasses, and then that's what it came up with. You can't say names, but it'll actually come up with something if you actually describe somebody, which is pretty cool. So that's the Talk Furukawa there. Next gen plans. And what is this, guys? Well, I'm leaving the news genre, my friends. I'm leaving the news genre. So if you saw my video today was my last video. It was a discussion video, but more news driven. I am entering a new phase in the channel. It's called the Mike Odyssey Show. It's like you're watching Jimmy Fallon. What does Jimmy Fallon do at the beginning of his newscast? He talks about news, but it's in a different way. He does bring up real news, but something happens that makes you smile afterwards, right? So consider the Mike Odyssey Show the very first Tonight Show type Nintendo show. It's not only news, it's a lot more. Tune in Monday for the debut of the Mike Odyssey Show. Right now, if I would really appreciate if you guys can go there and make this little let me go down here, this little thing here, if I can make it go to 100 likes before the premiere, and then on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, I'll be watching it with you in this section here. We'll talk about it and we'll watch the show. And yeah, it's the first night kind of Tonight Show, not Jimmy Fallon tall show like the tall show like Jimmy Fallon path. It's not really Jimmy Fallon. I'm better than Jimmy Fallon. I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah, first Tonight Show. I'm changing gears. I'm still talking about news, but it's not gonna be the same, right? Just because these videos are more of who am I? Bring laughter, bring joy, bring take you out of your world and give you a little bit of an escape for just a couple of minutes a day. That's what I want to do, right? And so I figured that at least when I talk about news, there's a lot of opinions, right? And so one can't always be too happy. In this new journey that I'm going in, it's still Nintendo. So if you love Nintendo, we'll still bring you more Nintendo than you've never seen in your life in one video. Okay, you'll get Nintendo in one video. But in this new journey, it's a more polished show, so it takes more time to edit. So my new schedule is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every other time I'll be producing the show or doing a live stream on Tuesday and on Thursday. I want to make sure that I don't clash with Andres Restart podcast, the Nintopics podcast, or the Odyssey podcast. So I'll stream on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and it'll be early streams about 5 to 6 Eastern time. But yeah, the new show is starting on Monday. This is the biggest thing I've ever done on the channel since I started the channel, and I've never put more work into one episode that I have till now. So hope you guys enjoy it. Mike Odyssey Show debuting this Monday. We got Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We still have our breaking news, but it's all going to be part and tied to the Mike Odyssey Show. We have Mike Odyssey Show live, and you'll probably see more people than you have to in one video too. So with that, I want to let you guys know, thank you so much for being here at the Nintopics podcast. You guys have been amazing. Chat, you got, without you, we're just talking to ourselves, right? So we appreciate you more than you know. Thank you, Andres, for jumping on into the podcast. Appreciate it.
I just got back from home and I was like, oh, sure.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. You got the door always open. All you got to do is just send me an email or chat, and I'll just send you a link. With that, we have 2 words we gotta let you know before we let you go. Number 1, what is it, Joycey?
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Never give up. Don't do that because we need you.
Seriously, guys, don't give up. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You're only a day away, man. Can you imagine you give up today and tomorrow? Can you imagine? This is a little bit of history. Can you imagine if Judas in the Bible would have waited just one more day?
Oh, that's deep.
Can you imagine that?
That's deep.
If you would have waited just one more day, it would have been fine. It would have been different. The story would have been different. But so you don't give up. No matter where you find yourself in life, guess what? Tomorrow's another day. The sun comes up, and you'll be fine. Just continue fighting. Never give up. And then there's another part. I'll let Andre tell us one. Andre, what is it?
Oh, you did this last time. Never give up and journey on.
Yeah, that journey continues, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And with that, we'll leave with some dancing. Look at Paul's face here.
All right, Emilio.
This has been the Nintopics podcast.
All right, turn it off. I'm sorry.
I'm looking for the end stream button first.
Mike Odyssey, Paul Gale Network,
Emilio,
Andres Restart, DJ Joycey J, Zach Hendricks, Still Live, Not Over Yet.
We're still here.